Welcome back, everybody. TheeSportsScoop podcast. We've been on a bit of a hiatus in terms of the podcast. Welcome back to episode number 6 on a Friday post midterms for us. So we're very excited. It's going to be a good episode. Kean McDermott, Suraj Kadali. You're not Kean McDermott. I'm Kean McDermott. Suraj Kadali. And you've seen him around draft live streams, but now he's officially in person on a actual episode. And that is Mikey the Flash McQueen, ladies and gentlemen. Mikey, how are you? He has the
great.
Bills jersey on.
I'm great.
So
yeah.
you could be better, to say the least.
All right. Okay.
You could be better.
We didn't have to go there.
All right, but Mikey, obviously Bills fan, so we'll be getting into that. If you guys are new to the channel, if you found us on your YouTube search, we are an NFL podcast. Today we're going to be going into a ton of hot NFL topics, obviously, as we have the NFC and AFC championships coming up this week, or I think tomorrow by the time this is posted.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking about some of that. We'll be talking about some of the divisional games and just some NFL news, some coaching stuff. I'll be going over a ton of stuff. Packers rebuild a ton of coaching. And, yeah, it's going to be a packed episode. So make sure you guys strap in. We'll probably be one of the longer ones. So make sure you guys subscribe. Follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, all of that stuff if you want to stay up to date with some more of our content. And make sure you guys subscribe so you can see some of the clips of the podcast when that comes out after this is posted. And without further ado, let's get it. We're going to get this first. And Mikey, I know this is a bit of a touchy subject, but we saw the best game I've ever watched in my entire life.
One of the best games ever.
I think ever. This past weekend when Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes faced off, and I think probably the two best quarterback plays I've ever seen in my entire life. Arguably best receiver play, I guess, stats-wise. And we're not really going to recap the game because that was a while ago. You all know that was probably the most recapped game this season. But we're going to talk about this more dynamic between these two teams now in the AFC, where this is going to be a match for the future. Now, we have a little bit of bias with you, Mikey, but, I mean, I'll go to you first, Serge. When you kind of see this Josh Allen-Mahomes matchup, I mean, how electrifying and excited are you? Because that was, Mikey, and I know you are very serious right now because you're not too happy about it. But looking past that game, Serge, I mean, I'm just so excited to see this next year and for years to come because, I mean, it looks like these right now are the two best teams in football last week. And
yeah.
Defenses did not matter.
Yes, and they're two solid defenses. But honestly, I'm not as excited for this matchup because Buffalo are in our division. And basically, when you have a guy like Josh Allen, you basically know that's going to be, for most years, it's going to be fighting for second place for everyone else. Mm-hmm. So, but I have to completely agree. I think it's kind of going to be a kind of thing where it's going to be, I mean, a few more guys, obviously Burrow, Herbert are great in the AFC as well, but these two guys are going to be at the top for a while. I think Buffalo, they look almost the complete part. I think they need a bit more help, probably, I would say, in the secondary, especially, obviously, Tre'Davious White was missing for that game as he'd been with a torn ACL for the entire year, but their defense probably definitely needs to get a bit healthier. But they're a team that I think is a bit more complete than Kansas City. And obviously their offense, when you have Josh Allen, you're automatically a top 10 offense in the NFL because just how much he provides. They have a great, I think you could say maybe duo now because Stephon Diggs, I love Stephon Diggs, but also Gabriel Davis. We saw how he played. 8 receptions, I believe 201 yards. He was absolutely incredible. So I think this is really, again, a matchup for the future because you've got two teams that have kind of very, very good offenses and defenses that I think for Buffalo at least you could say that are going to be pretty solid for the next few years.
We'll cut that out. Okay. Well, Mikey, I'll go to you. Let's before we let the raging Bills fan talk about this because I know you're going to have some stuff to say. I think this matchup to me, and I know, Serge, we were talking about it, that kind of Peyton Brady matchup. Like, how good will this be? And I think it's just going to be fantastic because I mean, two quarterbacks where I think you look at the differences between both, but they have so much similarities. I think you look at what they did in this game to win the game. It was, first of all, Mahomes, that ridiculous arm, that side arm pass, around Gregory Rousseau, and then Josh Allen, just his ability to extend plays. He saved the Bills several times.
Yeah, that 4th and 4.
Yeah. We're going to get into head coaching, but I think Dable, great offensive coordinator, a lot of that play calling that game, he was saved by Josh Allen with just the physical attributes he has, the size he has. That was the best game of Allen's career, and I know they lost, but that was the best game Allen has ever played. That being said, I think a couple of the touchdowns, you look at 2 of the Gabe Davis touchdowns wide open. That being said, great routes. But I think what I was so impressed with and what I now see Josh Allen really as with Mahomes and really you can argue technically now Allen's better. I don't think he is. Mikey, I'm not sure what you think, but I'm saying it's just going to be so fantastic because now Josh Allen, the ability to stay up with Mahomes in a game like that at Arrowhead, it just shows Josh Allen has it. And I think defenses were just obliterating that game. I mean, it was just a fantastic game. But Mikey, besides that game, because we know what you think, we've talked about it. When really you look at this matchup as a Bills fan, and I know we'll be getting into other Bills topics, but I guess we're in this topic. You're the Bills fan. Like, what do you really think about it in terms of Josh Allen, Mahomes? Because I'm sure. Honestly, do you think Allen's better than Mahomes? I want you to tell me honestly.
No.
You don't think he is?
No, and if you do, you're wrong.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you think Mahomes is better?
Josh Allen is no MVP.
Okay.
He doesn't have a Super Bowl. Doesn't have a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Mahomes has all that.
Yeah.
And pretty much the same age. I mean, there's no question that Mahomes is better than Josh Allen. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and he has been for the last 2 years.
Yeah, wow. Like Mikey, I was not expecting you to say. I know. Okay, so I agree. That being said, Mikey, as obviously we're Giants fan, Jets fan, the pain the Bills bring the Jets, and I don't actually remember the last time they played the Giants. I don't think they did this year, or they didn't this year, and I don't think they did last year. I'm not sure. Again, this is neither here nor there, but I mean, Allen to me really, because you as a Bills fan, you've looked at Allen throughout these years has taken arguably the biggest steps I've ever seen from a quarterback. Can Daniel Jones do it? Maybe. No, I'm joking. But as a Bills fan, it must be so exciting. Honestly, I can't even fathom what it's like to have a good quarterback, and I know that's really sad to say, but when you kind of look at Mahomes and Allen as just matching up in the future, how excited are you, and how confident are you in Allen?
I'm confident in Allen. I'm not confident in playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have won that game. In my mind, we won that game.
I think you should.
Yeah, I think we should have won that game, but I just hope we don't play the Chiefs in the playoffs again. So.
Yeah, I think
it's gonna happen. It's not. It's a matter of.
It's hard to avoid them, but I think Buffalo really should have won that game. I think when you look at certain moments, just the play calling on defense in the fourth quarter was just abysmal. Especially on that 13-second drive.
Both sides of the ball.
Both sides of the ball, but especially Buffalo. You have to cover them for 13 seconds, and you play prevent defense, just allowing Tyreek Hill to catch it 5 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage and just run for 13 yards. That's the easiest 15
I will
plus
say
yards.
If you're looking at the mic'd up, obviously after Mahomes' interview post game, that was not the route Kelsey was supposed to run.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Found they left the seam open. And
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how you do that. And it was, what was so surprising to me was it was a Bills defense that was fantastic the entire season. It was the best defense in the league for about the first 5 to 7 weeks of the season.
If you follow the Bills all season, if you watch their games every week, you would know that defense was unbelievably overrated.
Wow, I mean, Mike is switching.
All those stats were built up on horrible teams. I mean, they play in the AFC East.
Yeah. They played the Jets twice, the Dolphins twice, the Texans, the
Jaguars, and they lost. They lost to the Jaguars.
I think the rude awakening was that first Patriots game, and I think that was the first podcast we did where it just seemed like Sean McDermott got completely outcoached by Bill Belichick, and that's what somebody talked about. And I think. And not only for Josh Allen, because I think Mac Jones, as much as I hate to say it, and as much as you probably hate to see it, I think Mac Jones will just continue to get better. That being said, I think, for comparing him to Wilson, the ceiling he has isn't as high. So if you're Josh Allen, or if you're the Bills, I think, you probably have this, but definitely defensive. It needs to become a defensive battle. But obviously, we're still talking about the Josh Allen versus Mahomes. I mean, looking in the future, I know we haven't really touched on it. Really looking at this in the future. Between these two quarterbacks, I think it could be the best quarterback matchup ever.
I think it has that potential, but it's so hard when you're against guys like Brady, Manning, who had Bradshaw, Staubach.
Staubach.
Sorry, my fault. Montana and Aikman. Yeah. Although Aikman is a bit overrated, I'd say. But
I think
a bit. It's
insanely overrated.
A bit. Okay, for another time.
No, I was looking at his stats and I was like. I don't know when
to be fair, different era, but he played with the best team easily, best offensive line, best running back.
You know what I really want to, and I know we talked about this. Honestly, obviously we're all 16. Are you 17?
16.
You're 16. We're all 16.
Yep.
Obviously, this is the best game we've ever seen. Was this the best game ever?
I would say no, because
I don't think.
I don't even think it was the best game I've ever seen.
I think there are a lot of.
No, I think the Patriots comeback
Super Bowl 51. I'd say the Minneapolis Miracle was great all around.
But it was that ending.
That was a great play.
But actually, one of the more underrated ones, I'd say, this is like 2013, I believe. It was Ravens Broncos, the Flacco Hail Mary to over Raheem Morris.
Again, that's a great play.
Yeah. No, but it was the whole game was great. The whole game was great.
The ending to this game, as much as I love football, I cannot sit through a full weekend or a full Sunday of football. I can't. I just don't have the attention for that. I can't sit through it. I watch the 1 p.m. games, the 4:25. Definitely I miss a little bit, and then I watch the primetime ones. But this game to me, and even some of the primetime games, it's like, all right, this is a little bit boring. Like,
because some of the games are like bad.
This game, you could even the ads, you're like, I can't get away. Like I was like during the ads, like I can't miss a play. Like I can't miss a play because the game breaking plays, the amount of the Bills 1 play 75-yard play, which I missed. I was upstairs getting water. I missed it. I basically came down. The Bills had scored. I'm not sure when it was. I think it brought the game to
23-21.
Yeah. And it was it the Gabe Davis?
Gabe
catch?
Davis. Yeah, all of them were Gabe Davis catches.
Excuse me. Yeah. It was a game you could not get your eyes away from. I think. Will the games be like this in the future?
Yeah,
probably not as good.
Probably not as good.
To set this precedent for this kind of matchup is ridiculous.
I think one of the things that maybe it makes it have the potential to be one of the greatest quarterback rivalries of all time is just the how exciting it is to watch these guys. Right, so a lot of other great quarterbacks are just like not as like thrilling to watch. These guys, amazing mobility, amazing arm strength, amazing everything. They're just and you see like some of the throws they can make. Those are like quarterbacks probably throws maybe 3-4 people can make in
the NFL
on Earth. Yeah,
Mahomes I think is the only
Mahomes.
guy.
Allen I'd say actually has more arm talent, but I think Mahomes is a better quarterback.
I think he has more strength.
Well, arm talent. Well,
I think Josh Allen is the strongest.
I mean, seeing some of the angles he threw from in the game.
Yeah, no, I think he can, but the rate at which Mahomes throws some of these.
Yeah, the way he's so consistent with
that
it.
Throw against Rousseau is impossible. That throw is impossible to make, and we've seen it all the time with Mahomes, and it's just been crazy. And I think Mikey, what is so interesting about this to me is Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming. You look at the scouting reports; they were awful. Like they were like, this guy's not good. Obviously the upside, and I think it's just such the perfect two really high upside but really raw quarterbacks getting to their peaks. Because Mahomes, same coming out of Texas Tech, was not someone who was like very highly touted. Like it was a guy who needed to be worked on, and the fact that both of these guys have been trained to where they are now, like how lucky we are that they got to that level. Yeah, where Josh Allen could have been bad. Josh Allen could have not taken that step, and
if he goes to an organization not like Buffalo, I think
that's what is to me just so crazy to think about. Is these are two guys who are such literally boom or bust, and they have just become fantastic. I think they're the two best quarterbacks in the league right now.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I think it's 1-2. I think it's crazy. A matchup for the future, Mikey. I think you'd agree.
Unfortunately.
Although, again, Buffalo will get over the hump eventually. It's just a matter of not if, I'd say when, though.
I just think it's so hard to replicate what Kansas City have on offense. What I love so much about Tyreek Hill, and I love Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is not Tyreek Hill, and I think there's a big separation between the two. And it was shown in that game. Stephon Diggs had an awful game.
I mean,
he had an awful game.
Well, it's not his fault. They double teamed him, triple teamed him all game. That's why Davis had
8 receptions, 201 yards.
6 catches for 201 yards.
8 actually.
Yeah, 8 catches for 201 yards, 4 touchdowns.
There's receivers who can get through and face that. Double coverage.
Devontae Adams.
Why would Josh Allen force it to Diggs when Davis is open?
I'm not saying the ability of Diggs to get open. And again, that I could be wrong. I think Diggs dropped a couple passes.
I
don't know. I just think it was really ironic that picture. I mean, Diggs must have got killed on social media for that picture of this, and then it happened again, and he had an even worse game. But back to the Tyreek Hill thing, the difference of Tyreek Hill, not just the ability to catch the ball and be good, his ability to literally catch the ball and run 80 yards and break the game is unfortunately, Diggs just can't do that. And I think that's the big difference between what Diggs can do and what Hill can do.
The difference is more that Tyreek Hill has Travis Kelce and Stephon Diggs also does not. I'm not saying that Diggs is better or worse than Hill, but to have a guy like Travis Kelce who just basically just completely takes all the double teams, or it depends on what type, if you have fast corners or not, but he's a guy who can basically take away the middle of the field and draw those double teams and basically force maybe your second best cornerback or or a one-on-one with Tyreek Hill, basically it's impossible to stop. That also is the main reason why he is so productive in these types of games. But also, again, he is probably not only one of the fastest guys, but he's one of the more, I'd say, refined route runners based on what we've seen in his career and how much better he's gotten that from just a return specialist. So, but again, I agree with you 100%. What really Kansas City have on offense is just so hard to replicate. Like, just so many just guys with like 4.4, 4.3 speed,
and
which
that's
is just
what I
unbelievable.
think it's just going to be like when you talk about the Bills getting over the hump, it's like how?
It's that, I mean,
you need, and I think McKenzie has shown his ability. Like, he can be the fast guy.
He's a free agent, though, I think, right?
He might be. But
I'm not sure.
Regardless, he's not going to be some Tyreek Hill type player. So I think that's what the whole thing is. I think it comes down to, I think the Chiefs need, or excuse me, the Bills need another receiver. I think they need another good receiver.
They have one. Davis.
I love Gabe
receivers.
I think 3 receivers at this point. Teams, as much as McCole Hardman isn't great, he
fits the system.
He's fit the system perfectly. You look at when Sammy Watkins was there; he was the same guy.
Oh wait, who's the third receiver in that lineup then?
Oh right, sorry, because I'm thinking of Kelsey. I guess.
Well,
not
Kelsey.
receiver,
Well, no, I
counting,
did count.
Like,
there are receivers.
People who catch the ball.
So the receivers.
Yeah, I mean Kelsey's basically a slot receiver.
Yeah, no, just people who catch the ball. Like having 3 good pass catchers. So you have Kelsey, Hill, and even then
then you have Hardman, Byard, Pringle who can play.
They break that mold of having 3 elite receivers because those 2 together are crazy. But you look at the Bills, it's Diggs. I mean, Gabe Davis is great. Gabe Davis is great. That playoff game should not put in people's minds that he will be an elite guy. I think Gabe Davis is fantastic. I'm someone who, when we did the Bills preview,
but he doesn't need to be fantastic though.
No, I know. I think he needs to be the big guy. I always compare big receivers, and it's a casual take to guys like Mike Evans, guys. And I guess Gabe Davis is a little bit different, but using your body, you look at Gabe Davis's routes. He's getting the corner on his shoulder and using his body to catch the ball. But I think they need, if McKenzie's free agent, regardless, a smaller guy to kind of be that speedy, like Chris Olave,
underneath,
someone like that.
Are you talking about like
someone who's in the slot, someone who's speedy, a guy.
I'd say though for Buffalo,
like the Raiders drafted Henry Ruggs, and obviously because to rival Tyreek Hill or to have that game breaking guy. So I think that's what the Bills need to do in terms of getting over that hump. That being said, I think on any given day, this Bills team, as it is, can beat the Chiefs. Yeah. So it's not like there's a necessary hump to get over.
I'd say they did. They did beat the Chiefs, basically.
It was.
I mean, they did.
I think it's gonna be 50-50 for the next few years. I think it also really what it depends on, and this is more of a casual take, I'll say, but like home field advantage. Yeah. I think really playing at Arrowhead is just a whole different beast, and I think Buffalo.
Is a whole different.
I was thinking about this random thought I just had. Buffalo not making it to the AFC Championship game is indirectly the fault of Aaron Rodgers not taking the vaccine. I know that doesn't make any sense, but basically since Aaron Rodgers didn't miss that Chiefs game because of COVID, Jordan Love had to start, and they lost 13-7. Now, if Aaron Rodgers plays that game, they win, right? Obviously.
You would have.
So that means Kansas City goes 11-6. Buffalo goes 11-6. That means Buffalo has the tiebreaker over Kansas City because they won in the regular season. They're the 2 seed. So Buffalo would play Kansas City in Buffalo because they both win no matter what. But Kansas City would crush the Patriots, and Buffalo would obviously beat the Steelers. So it'd be the same thing, but except in Buffalo instead of in Kansas City. I know there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. It was just a random thought that I had. But I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that over the next few years, home field advantage, who is home, who is playing, who has the higher seed, that could play a big part because these teams are just so even.
People. That's why you get vaccinated.
Yes, but that was not really the point I was trying to make. But I was more like
shift all his anger to
Aaron. It just makes me hate him more.
It's Aaron Rodgers' fault.
It's Aaron Rodgers' fault. But
how dare you?
All right, well, let's move on to another thing. Talking about the Packers, perfect segment, perfect segue, excuse me, into the next segment where we're going to talk about, are the Packers going into rebuild? So obviously we know now Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to leave. Whether it be a smarter or this not as good option, it seems like he will leave.
I think
I will bet
right now his top 2 options. I think he'll either retire.
Yeah.
I think he'll go to Denver.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I mean, if he's out of those options, I don't think he'll go anywhere else besides Denver.
Tampa Bay, I'm telling you, Tampa Bay. Look at all the news.
I don't think Brady's retiring.
Yeah, but
I think it's so hard to fathom that given how long he's been in the game.
Here's what I'll say. I think the whole argument comes down to Aaron Rodgers explicitly said, "I do not want to become a part of rebuild." This
and
Packers
the Packers
team
are basically set to rebuild at this point.
It's not as much a rebuild. I mean,
it kind of is. I mean, they're losing your best receiver.
You lose Devondre Campbell.
You're losing
you lose
Robert
Darius
Tonyan.
Smith. You lose Tonyan.
They're probably got to cut Preston Smith.
Yeah, Preston Smith. No, Preston is a free agent.
No, he's not. But he's he has such a big
Valdez-Scantling's a free agent. Lazard's restricted free agent. The only receivers they have are Amari Rodgers and
Randall Cobb, but he might be cut too.
Get cut. And then Bakhtiari's had those injury problems. You lose Rodgers, Jordan Love, who without Devontae Adams or Robert Tonyan and those weapons, I don't know what they're going to do with him. And then a defense that's going to lose Devondre Campbell. You're basically going to have Jair Alexander. Who knows? Maybe Jair Alexander's like, I don't want to.
No, I think.
I'm not saying that will happen, but I'm just saying
it's like a bad
big
situation.
Domino effect where. And then I would assume, if Aaron Rodgers goes to a team like Denver, for example, which we'll get into later, who have that space, and Devontae Adams like, all right, I'll go to Denver. I mean, they get a new coach, they get
they got the Packers offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but again, talking about that, Hackett goes to the Broncos.
Yeah,
so
it's just prolonging their
window.
As
much as we love LaFleur, is he?
He's a great coach, and I think the one saving grace that might be here for Green Bay is that the rest of the NFC North is terrible. Because the Vikings, I mean, they've got a lot of talent, but they can never put it together.
They announced now, I think people in the Vikings organization believe that because it's not the guy, they're now in the sweepstakes for Watson, but I think more came news. I'm not, again, Watson.
I mean, Watson, although... I mean, we still gotta wait for that situation to.
I think I think the Lions honestly give them 2-3 more years to get free agency and draft.
2-3 more years,
I think
definitely
they can be a contender.
Bears, I mean, depends on what.
How long have we been saying that though?
That's true.
Literally 100 years.
I think I like
we've been saying that.
The Bobby Lane curse. Just at 50 years, they said they'll never win a championship. Just they've been perpetually rebuilding, but.
For 70 years.
It's unbelievable.
For 70 years.
Hey, the Bengals
I think it's been since 1958, they've only won one playoff game. That's just...
That's actually insane. That's unbelievable.
But I think they've got...
But, I mean, what do we think? Are the Packers going to rebuild? If you're the Packers right now, what are you doing?
That's such a tough... because they can't really re-sign anyone because they're in the...
But I thought they could tag Adams.
They can tag Adams, but they're so in the hole for cap space that I don't know if they have... the financial means to do that. And Adams, he won't be happy playing on the tag. He probably wants to explore his options. He wants to see what Aaron Rodgers will do. And yeah, the Packers are just, I mean, last year was the year really where they kind of either say, okay, we're going to be in a transition year where we kind of take that next step to also prioritizing our future along with our present, which is Rodgers and Adams. But they're kind of just like, okay, we're going to go all in, Super Bowl or bust this year. And they busted. So now it's just it's a very, very difficult spot.
It's unfortunate. I mean, to bust against the 49ers at home to Jimmy Garoppolo, who played terribly.
Just
wow. I'm sorry, but I was just thinking about it. You're like, I can't say anything nowadays, and you're like, yeah. Oh, you can't bust against the 49ers.
We can't say anything nowadays. It's everything.
Oh my god.
No, but I'm not sure how much actual cap they have. They have $263 million in cap liabilities, and they have. It says they have 50. I think they have. It says they have 50. That's not true. I'm not sure what their cap is. But their cap's bad, obviously. So I think
I saw they were like below. I'll see it here. Here's the cap tracker. They have they're 50 million. They're negative in debt. Yeah.
Okay, so that was right.
They're
I mean, I think the fact it doesn't matter. Like if Rodgers leaves, like they're not winning.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go over.
They can keep everyone except Aaron Rodgers.
I'm gonna go over all of the free agents for the Packers: Devontae Adams, Lucas Patrick, Whitney Merciless. Their punter Borquez, Rasul Douglas, who's fantastic.
What is this?
Oren Burks, St. Brown.
Wait, who? What is the list of?
UFA, Marcus Valdez-Scantling.
Oh, okay.
MVS,
and there's more.
Huge.
There's more. It's
Lazard. I think is restricted.
Rodgers, obviously. I mean,
but Rodgers isn't a restricted free agent.
What?
He's not a restricted free agent.
No, he's a free agent.
No, he's not.
Wait.
Rodgers is.
Rodgers just signed. Sorry.
I think next year he's a unrestricted free agent, but this year,
but
this year was considered. This year was considered the last
dance. Next year it's void.
Dance.
2023 is void. He's void. I don't know.
Yeah, which means I think he's just out of contract.
No, he's a UFA. Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah, so basically, but they were talking about how this year's the last
Yeah, no,
dance,
so
last chance for
excuse me.
Green
So
Bay,
they keep Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith are both free agents next year.
But I think Preston Smith is definitely in danger of being cut along with
excuse me. I completely forgot. Rodgers, if he were to move on, would be traded.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot about it. I don't know.
But
he
like
signed the deal last year.
What could the Packers get for him?
A lot.
I mean, I would say I'd actually.
Who would be really willing to pay like something really big for Rodgers?
I would say Denver, Pittsburgh.
I think Denver right now.
Denver is the main one. I'd say Pittsburgh are second.
I think are looking in the draft.
Well, what would a hypothetical trade?
I would say similar to what the Matthew Stafford trade was, because Rodgers is a better quarterback than Stafford, but Stafford has a lot
significantly better quarterback.
Yes, but I would say Stafford is also
NFC Championship
but Stafford is also a lot younger,
is
so I think it would probably command 2 firsts and probably like a.
How much better is Stafford than Aaron Rodgers?
A lot better.
One of them's in the NFC Championship game and one of them's not.
But one of them also has like a super team around.
No. I am not going to back up Rodgers. He choked.
He played awful.
And we're going to get into Stafford later on why he's proven me right or proven me wrong. Excuse me.
Right.
No, Rodgers does not deserve any sympathy. They should have won that game. He did not. They should have won.
I think he was like 20.
How many times has he choked in the playoffs?
No. I'm not on Rodgers' side by any means. No. Yes, you're completely right. It's his fault. But I think raw talent, there's quite a gap between him and Stafford. Again, maybe it's closed a little bit.
I'd say
I think it's closer than a lot of people think.
I think Rodgers is still a better quarterback than Stafford for sure. But I'd say based on the value that Stafford was traded for when he was like, I don't know, 32, 33, and Rodgers is going to be like 39. But Rodgers is a better quarterback than Stafford. So I'd say the haul would probably be around 2 firsts and like a player, which I think is definitely feasible.
What player? Like who would the Broncos give?
Well, maybe Drew Lock.
Drew Lock?
I think they would have to give a Drew Lock. I think.
Well, the Packers wouldn't want that because they trust Jordan Love.
Who even is the Broncos quarterback?
It's Drew.
It's Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater.
That's right. It's Bridgewater. That's right.
Bridgewater's a free agent next year.
Yeah,
so
Bridgewater's a free agent.
He's not on the Broncos. Technically, right? He's not on the Broncos anymore.
Bridgewater. Free agency hasn't started.
Who do the Broncos have that the Packers would want?
No one. I think it wouldn't be a quarterback at least.
So maybe just be draft picks.
I think it would maybe be Chubb. I think it could be Justin Simmons. It would be someone on that defense.
No, they wouldn't. They don't, because the Broncos. If the Broncos were to trade for,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
If the Broncos were to trade for an Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they trade.
It would be picks.
They would. Yeah, they wouldn't trade for any They wouldn't trade any of their players because that's basically them saying, okay, we're going all in. We want to contend with Kansas City, with Los Angeles, with Buffalo, with Cincinnati.
I think you could then make it really interesting because if the Broncos give up 3 first rounders, a second, or some big trade, then the Packers go get a receiver, maybe get 2 receivers.
I could see.
I think that it could make the Packers a really
I could see them
team.
maybe going for a receiver like a Sutton or a Judy. Because like Judy has not been. I've heard that he's maybe been falling out of favor with some of the Broncos coaches, but I'm not sure.
Oh, Judy, right.
And then but then maybe they go and they trade Judy and they sign Devontae Adams. I could see that happening, but
I really think.
Wait, who's the new Broncos head coach? Was it the Packers offensive coordinator?
It's Nathaniel Hackett.
So I mean, why would Rodgers not want to go there?
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I'm saying.
I see him definitely pressuring the Packers. I can see the Packers taking
Yeah.
Here's the
real
thing.
See we could segue into that subject now. Like, does Nathaniel Hackett, it basically makes Green Bay the favorites.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think if Rodgers went to the Broncos and they got good, and the Packers got good competition in picks, I think the Packers would win that trade. I think.
What does good competition?
Well, it depends how the season went for the Broncos.
Rodgers. Let's look at comparatively. If Rodgers would go to the Broncos, let's say, Devontae Adams, we don't know if he would go there. The receivers are not as good as Devontae Adams, or more abundant.
But they're still good.
They're still good. You have more.
You got Sun. You've got KJ Hamler, who's solid.
But Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the NFL.
Yes.
The offensive line, I think, probably similar. You have a good tackle, good guard, and then you look at the defense is better. But really, is it that much better? You have the second best corner in the league on the Packers. You have probably the best safety, second best safety. You have a good edge rusher. You don't have Von Miller anymore.
I think it's a more design. Well, hey, there's still.
Alexander.
Who's the number 1 cornerback?
Jalen Ramsey. You know it is. We're not going to argue about that. You know it's Jalen Ramsey.
Okay, well,
all right.
Well, anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think it's more Rodgers' desire to go out of Green Bay because he can see the writing on the wall. He sees that this is probably their last great chance at making a run for the Super Bowl, because Rodgers, as much as he hates to say it, as good as he's been, he's still probably going to regress sooner rather than later. And you've got, again, all these unrestricted free agents, guys that are on the chopping block, guys who could potentially be cut. You have a team that, again, really relied on that Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams connection. And if Davante goes, then that's a significant portion of their offense. Because people say, oh, yeah, but Allen Lazard was good. Marcus Valdes-Scantling was good. But that was because of Davante Adams. So I think he sees that, that was probably our last chance. So I think that's his desire to really get out and kind of maximize his own personal window of winning a Super Bowl. And I think he's definitely got a much better chance in places like Denver, Pittsburgh, probably Denver. But yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know. I really think in the grand scheme of things, I don't think the Packers are necessarily losing a lot. I mean, Rodgers hasn't brought you a Super Bowl.
No. Well, you're definitely losing a lot.
Yes.
Well, he has.
Actually,
I mean, you're definitely
that terribly. He has brought the Super Bowl. I mean, recently.
I mean, you're losing. You are losing a lot.
Rodgers has choked in the playoffs. If I see
back
him,
MVP,
potential back-to-back MVP. If he goes to the Broncos, like what really?
But you're losing perennial playoff, winning the NFC North.
But really, you look at it in the grand scheme of things. Rodgers is only going to get older. Yeah, you probably aren't at the grand scheme of things, the Packers get picks. Jordan Love hopefully gets coached well. You get receivers, then.
And also, if you really believe in Jordan Love, then by now 2 years sitting behind Aaron Rodgers should be enough to say, okay, now he's the guy. So if they're really trying to coax Aaron Rodgers into kind of staying another year, that must not reflect well on Jordan Love. And I think, again, like I said, the one saving grace for Green Bay is that I don't think they're in a very good division. Again, Lions are definitely far away from contending right now. The Vikings, I mean, in terms
of contending, I think.
And then the Bears. I mean, I think the Bears could be the biggest threat if they make some.
The Bears are a coaching staff.
If they need some key. They need receivers, and I think they need an offensive line.
Yeah,
but
Fields being good,
and obviously Fields developing. But I mean, that's the point. There's a lot that still has to go for other teams to kind of take that NFC North crown. So the one saving grace for Green Bay is that it's such a weak division that they still might have a chance of winning the NFC North next season. Yeah, but it's definitely it's looking bleak for their overall contention with teams like Tampa Bay, Dallas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Arizona. Those teams, they're not going to be going away. I mean, unless maybe the next subject Brady retires. Yeah. So.
Well, Mikey, you can speak, right?
Yeah.
Mikey's been quiet. Mikey's new to this, guys, but
I don't know. I don't know what there is to say. I mean, you guys are covering most of it.
But
so.
Just chime in. Let us know.
I mean. I could go on a long rant about why Aaron Rodgers is
a choker,
one of the most overrated players in NFL history. Okay.
Okay. All right. By all means.
Stat padded every year in one of the worst, if not the worst, divisions of football, the NFC North.
NFC, I mean, you said, but yeah, go ahead.
That's why I said one of.
Sorry. Continue.
Right. Yeah.
I mean. He's gotten it done 1 year, and that was against Ben Roethlisberger in the Super Bowl, and Big Ben sucked that game. He was really bad in that Super Bowl.
Well, Big Ben I don't like, so.
I mean, he was good at his prime, but
Hall of Fame, all right, maybe.
Yes, he is.
Hall of
Fame.
Maybe.
First ballot.
First ballot. I mean,
I'm saying Rodgers, I'm trying to remember a playoff game that he lost, that he played well in, and that his defense lost for him. I can't think of one.
No. I'd say
I think every game he lost.
Both of the Arizona playoff games where they lost 45-51. That was a game where he shouldn't have lost.
I think you take recently.
Oh, recently. That's a different story.
It's been Rodgers.
Because I wouldn't say it's his
almost
fault.
Every single time.
Because most times he's playing with kind of below average supporting cast, other than Davante Adams. But say recently,
other than the best receiver in football,
fair enough. But I'd say, recently, this year was definitely his fault. Last year, I mean, I'd say he outplayed Brady because Brady did throw 3 interceptions in the second half of an NFC championship, and yet, in spite of that, still won. But he still didn't play particularly well himself, or at least to his MVP caliber. Against San Francisco in the NFC championship 2 years ago, he didn't play well. And then the previous 2 years, they didn't make the playoffs. So recent history has definitely not been on Rodgers' side, But I'm talking about from an overall standpoint. I wouldn't say he's necessarily a choker, but in these recent years where he's kind of had his best chances to maybe make a Super Bowl run.
This year, the Packers should be.
This
should
year,
be winning
last
the Super
year,
Bowl.
these were missed opportunities. Yeah. These were the years where the Packers were the best team in football in the regular season, and they just flat out blew it.
And that's where I think the conversation where I see people talking about Rodgers, Brady, and people think Rodgers is better, it just doesn't make sense.
I'd say Brady's definitely had a much better supporting cast, which makes sense. But then again, it's too big. It's too big of a discrepancy between achievements career-wise that I don't think you can put Rodgers in that.
And I think what it comes down to, whether you think Brady, it comes down to, all right, yes, supporting cast matter unless it's like terrible. Like Rodgers has this year, Rodgers had the supporting cast. 2 really good running backs. Yeah, I'd say so. A line that can hold up.
Well, a line's been injured because David
Bakhtiari. Imagine if his entire career Rodgers had like what Stafford had.
Right.
Ooh, that would be tough.
I mean, like who did Stafford have? Like Megatron, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
I mean, Golden Tate was a solid receiver.
He was good. Golden Tate, Kenny Galladay, I guess.
But are you gonna put him on the same pedestal as like Megatron?
No, I'm not saying so. I'm talking about good receivers.
Very few people you can put on the same pedestal as Megatron.
But I'm talking about good receivers and say Megatron, Golden Tate.
That's probably it.
But he never had a run game.
But like terrible
never really
coaching.
Had a defense.
Yeah, terrible coaching, bad run game, bad everything except for Calvin Johnson. Like seriously, that was the only good thing about the Lions besides Matt Stafford.
I can't think about when that defense has been good.
Yeah.
I really cannot remember.
1940s.
I can't remember.
Back in the good old day when Detroit were winning the NFL championship every year.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I mean, I think, really what I was kind of alluding to is like, as much as a quarterback, or as much as the team matters in playoff games, more than less of the time, it is the quarterback who goes and takes it and wins the game. And I think, and I know that it's a case. Yeah, obviously. And I think it's give or take. But this is a better way to say it. In Aaron Rodgers' case, he should be the guy who's going out there and winning them the game. You've played at Lambeau.
I'd say he at least has to
played in snow. You're playing against a West Coast team and putting up 10 points in your stadium in climate you have played in.
I'm saying that type of game it's his fault. Because, I mean, obviously, to be fair, his special teams didn't help him out. But then again, when you only put up 10 points in a divisional round game where, again, you are the presumed MVP.
They didn't lose at home
and you're the presumed MVP, then, I feel like it's an inexcusable performance.
I mean, it's a lot like Brett Favre, honestly. Brett Favre.
Yeah.
A lot of years couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2007, the year the Giants beat the 18-0 Patriots, he's the reason that they lost that game. He threw that pick in overtime.
He's thrown a lot of big picks in his career.
And I really hope... I don't know. I mean, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I also don't want us to remember his career like we remember Brett Favre's. As a great player, but...
Couldn't get done in those...
We're talking about the GOAT, really? We're talking about, best quarterback, like some of the best quarterbacks of all time. I don't know.
Yeah. Should we move on to our next subject?
We'll move on. So we've been talking about Brady. Do we think this is the last time we've ever seen him?
No. I think he's trying to like confuse us again. Say, oh, maybe you're retiring this time.
I bet it's a promo for Man.
Oh yeah, remember a couple years ago when he posted that thing on Twitter when he was leaving the Patriots as
Yeah, and it was like what was it, like a TurboTax commercial? Hulu.
They did it.
Yeah. It was like the Super Bowl commercial.
And we thought it was he's retiring, and it's nah, just an ad.
That was the best commercial in that Super Bowl. That was really funny.
But I think it's again another thing where I think next year is his last year because he's always said he's gonna want to play till 45, and Brady. He's a spiteful player.
I think his next Super Bowl. I think next time he wins the Super Bowl, he's retiring. And
is there gonna be a next time?
I think you can never say is there with Tom Brady because everything he's dead. You just
I thought he was gonna retire 7 years ago. So,
but I think now he realized that he's declining because let's be honest. I
mean, is he declining? No, he had an incredible year this year.
He had a great year.
He had a borderline MVP season.
No, I know this, but what I'm gonna say is that he had the best receiving core in football until obviously Chris Godwin tore his ACL. He had Mike Evans, Gronk, Chris Godwin.
He didn't. I think the Bengals and the.
But one of the best.
Right.
One of the best.
And probably last year the best.
The best offensive line, I'd say.
In football?
No. They played amazing that year.
Oh, this
year.
This
year
top
this year they were
five,
amazing.
I don't think they were the best.
No, they had Marpet.
Serge just likes Allen Marpet.
Yeah, well, I mean, so do I.
Those were all they were all huge this year.
So
Kappa was good. Donovan
line.
Smith. The offensive line was great.
You had against the Rams, every time Brady was getting sacked, I was watching Allen Vs Patrick. This man does not let anybody go.
I've never seen him miss a block ever. He's insane. I
have not.
He
shout
is
out
so
to
good.
Hometown player.
Yeah.
I've not seen literally.
Yeah, he's the one guy that's just
he's the one guy who doesn't let people it's crazy.
But and then you've also got one of the best. You have one of the best running back, top 10 running back in the league. I'd say
at the end of the back half.
Well, no, I'd say the whole season he was pretty solid. But no, when he was healthy,
I don't know
he was
about
one of the
top
best.
10, top 15.
No, I would say Fournette. But based on how he played, I'd say. And then
we knew he had that potential.
And then, I think he had overall. I think overall he had by far the best offensive supporting cast because he had no weaknesses on that offense.
But it doesn't matter. He played well.
He played well.
It doesn't matter.
But it's much easier to play well when you literally have every single available option on offense. Everything is good. That's all I'm saying. And obviously that's probably
the defense the year they won the Super Bowl.
The defense was the year they won the Super Bowl. This year they were banged up. But
if you want to talk about a guy being carried, that's Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, I agree with that. No, I agree with
Brady
that.
is not being carried. Brady elevates that.
I'm not saying he's being carried
this year. The reason they came back in that game.
You think he got carried this year? But you think Tom Brady got carried this year?
I mean,
I would say he was.
It's not as much. I don't like the word carry because it's
they
so
all
hard
have
to be carried as a quarterback.
But
Jimmy Garoppolo, as much as he got carried. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo. Really looking
Jimmy Garoppolo is the textbook definiation of a quarterback who is carried by his defense.
We're going to get into Jimmy Garoppolo. It's all the stuff we're talking about is starting to get together. But yes, last year, I mean, what do you mean by carry? Tom Brady.
I wouldn't say he's carried, but I think
you put Ryan Fitzpatrick on that team. It probably doesn't happen. You know what I mean? You have to take into account that
he's still a great
quarterback is the reason why the ball is able to get to these receivers.
If you put, I'd say, any of the top 10 guys on that team, I think they still are just as successful.
Is really interesting if he were to go because it's
I doubt he will. I'd be shocked. But I'd say Brady, I think in his prime, he was the best quarterback in football, and I just don't think he is anymore because of Mahomes, because of Allen, because of Rodgers.
Yes, yeah.
And I think
I mean, but obviously, if you put Patrick Mahomes on the Bucs, they're going to be better. But
the real question is,
it's Tom Brady. He's still a top 5 quarterback.
I honestly think if you put Mahomes on the Bucs, would he really be better than he is on the Chiefs? I don't think he would be.
Well, I saw a stat yesterday that said Mahomes has by far the most yards on passes that didn't go past the line of scrimmage, on screens and outlet passes.
But I think that's also because the Chiefs' offense is really programmed on touch passes, wide receiver screens, motions, and throws to Blake Bell and obviously Kelsey. But that does make sense though. Mahomes definitely does have a lot of help with that. I'm just saying that with Brady, he is as good as he still is. I still think that right now at this moment, he has everything that's going for him, and really, it's hard to make a wrong step when you're playing in ideal weather in Tampa. You have usually 2.5 seconds. Not that Brady even needs that time, but he has usually on every play 2.5 seconds to throw the ball, and you have great receivers that getting separation. You have that big body receiver in Evans. You've got that great separator in Godwin, and you've got Gronk, who's Gronk, and you've got a good running back in Leonard Fournette. I think it's hard to make a wrong step there, which is why I think I would never say Brady's carried, but I mean unless he truly was carried. But I think this year it was less a testament his stats to Brady as much to how much he has on that offense. And I think realizing that obviously in that Rams game he had almost in the second half he had
the reason they came back in that game was Brady.
No,
I think it was Brady.
No. Not at all.
I think the offensive execution. Excuse me.
No, the reason that when it was 20, Brady did not get it done that much that game.
He didn't. It was confusing.
I mean, except for that Mike Evans big play, that was a great play. But that entire game, it was 27-6. Cooper Kupp fumbles. The Bucs get the ball deep in Rams territory. They score an easy touchdown. The next few drives, they don't get anything. Then Matt Gay misses a 47-yard field goal short. Then with
that was crazy.
That was crazy.
I couldn't believe that.
Then it was a 4th and 9. Brady just missed Cameron Brate, but the Rams go 3 and out, and then Brady gets another chance, and he hits Mike Evans. That was a great play.
And then
Cam Akers that was earlier. The snap, which also gave Brady another chance. Cam Akers, Rams fumbled 4 times. Cam Akers fumbled, gave Brady easy field position. He didn't do much on that drive. Leonard Fournette got the game-winning touchdown. I'm not saying Brady played necessarily bad, but he didn't really even do much in that game. But the point is that he had a lot of luck that game, and he missed chances that game, and he still lost.
No, and I think that's right. And I think you can attribute that to not having the people who carry him. But Tom Brady's 44. There's give and take. Yeah. If you bring a 25-year-old agile Mahomes, or something like that, like it really it's give or take, because yes, Tom Brady is old, but yes, he has really good players, he has everything around him, but at the end of the day, someone to be 44 and be discrediting that.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not discrediting what he's doing at all. I'm just saying that at this point, it's gonna be to a point where. Well, actually, go ahead.
I think the difference is, like, you look at Patrick Mahomes, you look at Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes last year, horrible in the Super Bowl.
Ooh, yeah.
I love that Super Bowl because I love seeing Mahomes get manhandled by that Bucs defense. Tom Brady this year didn't play awful, but he did not play well in that playoff game. But, you compare that to, like, Aaron Rodgers, who did not play well this playoff game either. The thing is, Mahomes, Brady, they just won Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You know they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers or, any other quarterback that, any other quarterback that didn't play well in the playoffs, you don't know that they can do it.
Yeah.
At least right now. But you know that Brady, Mahomes, those guys, they can do it right now.
And that's where it goes back to the Rodgers. If he really goes to Denver, do Denver become contenders if he's just going to lose in the playoffs again? Like, I think
they're a team that definitely is 10 to 13 wins, but playoffs, I'm not sure. Then going against teams like the Chiefs, Bills.
Yeah, again, I think Tom Brady being carried, but I think the Bucs knew when we get Brady, it's all in. Like, we're going to get everything we can.
Yeah. And they won a Super Bowl.
At the end of the day, getting Antoine Winfield with that pick probably wasn't the smartest pick. You look at when they took
that was a great pick.
It was it was a great pick. You look at it in terms of what was on the board. It was a great pick. That pick was to solidify Stevens. We don't have a good safety. That made no sense. Why did I say that? That literally made never mind.
Just a random.
That literally made no sense. That was the biggest. I have no idea. Sometimes I just space out when I'm talking.
All good. But I think no sense. But I think the point is really for this situation, I would say.
I'm actually like so surprised.
Gotta edit that one out. That was terrible.
Excuse me. I've said some things today where I was like, Rodgers didn't win a Super Bowl. Like, I just don't finish what I'm gonna say. Like, that made no sense. Excuse me.
But
I'm generally smart.
Anyway, the point of it is this Brady's last game? I think no, and I think what he's gonna try to do, he's gonna try and use that Brady recruiting magic to kind of get Chris Godwin back, which he'll definitely be easier with him coming off a torn ACL, unfortunately. And I think
the reason they got Antonio Brown.
We all know that worked out very well.
No, I mean, it did.
Well, yeah, true. I think I think Brady's gonna try and say, okay, I think this is my last year, because he obviously not only. I really
think with Brady, the question really, I don't think he knows when it's gonna be his last year.
Well, if I was Brady,
think he'll know after the end of the season.
Yeah,
right.
That's why.
If I was Brady, I would have retired after the Super Bowl last year. I mean, if I'm Brady, I look at it. I just won my 7th Super Bowl. I did it without Belichick. I proved it to everyone. I've solidified the fact that I am the greatest quarterback of all time. And, if Patrick Mahomes wins 7 Super Bowls too, I can always say I beat him. I use that in that argument. I can look at my family. My kids are growing up. My kids are just about to start, going to school and doing all that. And I don't know why he came back, honestly. I mean, I know.
I think maybe
a lot of money
could win another. But I think it just because something I can win one more. But now I think it's starting to get to the point where it might be pushing.
It's the competitor's mindset that he has. Exactly. Like, it was really like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady. These are all guys who have had those mindsets.
That's why you have to love Brady. Like, he is a competitor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what. He's like, I'm going to come back and I think I can do it again.
I really hope we don't look at, like, Brady coming back after that Super Bowl as, like, Michael Jordan going to the Wizards.
Yeah, I don't think.
I think a lot of people forget that, honestly.
Yeah, I honestly forget that. I forget that he was number 45.
Oof. I actually think about that like all the time. I think about that like at least 4 times a week.
Like
about
Mikey,
that's like the worst.
He's having a good
decision.
Day. He's like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, like I'll
or you just think about that Andrew Wiggins is an all-star starter. Then it'll just get you mad.
I actually like.
We're not.
I stared at that for like 2 minutes, like thinking that was a joke.
No, it's not. We won't get.
Hey, should I check just to make sure
that? No. But I think
make sure the what?
Yeah, we always want to make sure the thing.
We're just like
you probably should.
All right, we'll check.
Yeah. No, when I saw that Wiggins thing, I thought it was a meme account. Like actually, like I saw like Andrew Wiggins, all-star starter. I thought it was a joke.
We're still recording.
I thought it was a joke.
If this wasn't cut out, we apologize. But
We just need to cut out the beginning.
No, we won't cut it. We just got to check to make sure that you're still watching the video right now, and if you are, it's still recording.
And no hate to Andrew Wiggins though.
Yeah, no hate to Andrew.
But like,
he's a good player.
Congrats.
But like, come on, all-star starter.
Yeah. No, but I think at the end of the day, to kind of wrap it up, the competitor in Tom Brady has, and I think going back to what you said about family, looking at when he was on the Let's Go podcast, he said so. Quote, I said this a few years ago. It's what relationships are all about. It's not always what I want. It's what we want as a family. And I'm going to spend a lot of time with them and figure out out in the future what's next. It pains me to see, and then his wife said this, it pains me to see him get hit out there this is Tom Brady. It pains her to see me get hit out there, and she deserves what she needs from me as a husband, and my kids deserve what they need from me as a dad. So I think at the end of the day, no matter how much are you a competitor, family really obviously is very, very important.
Yeah.
But I don't. At the end of the day, final verdict. Don't think it was Tom Brady's last game.
I think next year is his last year.
Definitely not.
I think he's eventually thinking.
Yeah. Think he'll be back. But talking about old quarterbacks, now we'll move into a young quarterback, and arguably the most exciting young quarterback in the NFL. Although there are a lot, actually.
I guess there's like 6 guys you could say.
It's so funny because the quarterbacks are starting they're all young. All the good ones are almost young now. But I think the really young, the sophomore, the most exciting sophomore quarterback, and that's Joe Shiesty. And we're going to be talking about, so obviously Cincinnati are about to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I have them winning, so let's pray that they end up actually winning that game. But to kind of get off just that, the reaction to Cincinnati to this season for them, Mikey, so obviously you don't do predictions. You were an NFL fan, unless now you're on the podcast and you're recording video. But as an NFL fan, because obviously when we talk about our predictions, it's much more analytical. Like honestly, like just brute, like no filter. Like, what did you expect for Cincinnati this season, if anything? Because I guess you're a Bills fan.
I don't know. I didn't expect conference championship.
Yeah.
I didn't care. It's the Bengals. I just don't care. And I've never cared about the Bengals.
Ooh. Yeah. And you know what sucks?
And now I do.
We do our series. We do a Buster Boom series before each season. We try and do every NFL team. We never actually end up doing it, but hopefully this year we will.
This year's
we were on their division. I just don't think we did the Bengals. We didn't do the Bengals.
Well, we did their offseason moves. We did not do the actual Buster Boom.
Right. And I'm not sure. Again, I don't think I would have predicted them to have 5 or 6 wins. Or 5. I would think I would predict them to have
I think
5
most people
wins.
were predicting 5, 6.
Some
People were optimistic 7 and 8. But
I just didn't know what was Joe Burrow going to look like coming back from that?
Yeah, that was
didn't he tear? He tore his ACL and MCL.
ACL,
right?
MCL. His knee.
I didn't when I saw that, I genuinely didn't know if he was even going to play.
And also the concern was in OTAs, a lot of people were saying he was missing throws that he generally were easy to him. Because I was watching, obviously the Cincinnati Bengals, lover of Cincinnati Bengals on YouTube, Cincinnati Bengals playoff hype, and it's all of the content creators where it's the Bengals are the worst team, 4-11. It's all their predictions, and it's this Eminem song, and then it's their highlights. And the Burrow one was didn't know how he was going to come back. Obviously, he wasn't making the throws that he should have. His mobility wasn't as good, and he looks better.
Now I think that looks stronger.
He looks stronger.
Crazy. I think one of the with Cincinnati, I think a lot of people weren't very optimistic. But I think one of the main things that really kind of strayed people away from Cincinnati is that their offensive line, which was their Achilles heel, didn't get fixed.
Which still is.
And yeah, it still is. Still is their Achilles heel.
They almost lost that game against the Titans because of it. Yeah.
Yep, 9 sacks, unbelievable. But the thing that we failed to overlook is that Jamar Chase, adding that to an already solid receiving core of that of T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, would just make their receiving core such a hack that it didn't matter that their offensive line was bad. Because I think the concern
was warranted because also Jamar Chase, we were like, he's dropping passes in preseason. He's complaining about the football.
Oh, yeah, it was
the
the white
ball.
Yeah.
And then, this guy's been the best rookie. Technically the best rookie receiver ever.
Yeah.
He's looked ridiculous. You look at guys who can have that, play making ability like Tyreek Hill. He's close and he's bigger. So if anything, he's scarier.
Yeah,
I underestimated his ability after the catch, ridiculous speed.
Yeah, I didn't know that until the Titans game.
Yeah,
ridiculous
I didn't know that until the Chiefs game. I saw that that game where it's
that catch, and I was
he's still
14,
running.
He's still running. He's still running. And then he cut through, and I was like, what?
That just 14-0 takes one cut and just like gets into second gear just like that.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
got speed.
Something I don't have several gears and speed. It's definitely a plus.
Unbelievable. I mean, but I think just adding. I mean, obviously, it was, everyone was like just inclined to doubt them because the Bengals basically just went against conventional drafting standards by, instead of fixing an issue, making their strong point even stronger, and made it so strong that it was basically impossible to stop.
No, it's not only that. Like T. Higgins has gotten better.
Higgins has gotten better.
While he hasn't been involved as much, has been a great captain.
He's still a big guy.
But what I still think, like, no matter how good Ja'Marr Chase will be, I will still think Penei Sewell is the right pick. No matter how good he gets, I will always still.
Well, how well did Penei Sewell play this year?
He played really
well. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention.
No, I would.
It's really based on PFF grades.
I think
this isn't gonna sound right. I think Ja'Marr Chase is a great pick, but I will still, like, when I go back, I will still always believe in my heart that Penei Sewell was the right pick.
My problem with
that is, if you look at it right now, Penei Sewell was the right pick.
No. Right now, it doesn't look like
that. No, excuse me, right now. I'm saying just like
down the road you're talking about.
That's why you're not a GM.
No, this doesn't make sense. But I'm saying I'm trying to, like, be in the past and, like, not be like, I will always to this day, like, still believe that should have been the pick. Excuse me, that makes more sense. That should have been the pick. I will still think
that would have been the pick. That
credit to Charlie, he's not here. He was like Chase. I will still think Penei Sewell should have been that pick. This doesn't make sense. Because now I think now. I doesn't make sense. I love Ja'Marr Chase, but I'll always stick to my word when I said Penei Sewell should have been the pick.
What I think about this is that the Bengals, I can kind of see now what really they were doing, is that even though they drafted Ja'Marr Chase and didn't really address the offensive line, even though their offensive line was terrible this year, they realized that, hey, next year, this offseason, we're gonna have one of the most cap space in the league. I think they're like top 5 in cap space. I'm not 100% sure. So they can heavily invest in offensive line this offseason.
Yeah.
And if you're a free agent, who doesn't want to go to Cincinnati? Play with Joe Shiesty, with Jamar, with T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd,
I think the downside
Joe
is that you're in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Like,
I
don't know if you're like, where do I want to play? Like, do I want to play in LA?
Said, there's not a lot of nightlife, so no one's getting COVID. That's not a. But that being said, for people who want to win, I'm sure there are a decent bit of NFL players who want to win and want to get paid.
But if I'm like,
and also want to get paid.
If you're an NFL player, you just take your private jet to Florida whenever you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like, I think about how, like, Antonio Brown was gonna go to the Bills, and
he just like
he denied the trade because he didn't want to play in Buffalo. Like, and what's the difference between Cincinnati and Buffalo? They're pretty terrible.
Well, at least it's like.
I mean, now you got the Bengals, so maybe Cincinnati will become a better city.
But hey, Stephon Diggs, you want to go there, and I'm sure it wasn't because of the Buffalo atmosphere.
I mean, Buffalo have great fans.
They've got great fans.
I mean, everyone who plays there, like Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, they still live there. Yeah. You know, like they could live anywhere.
Antonio Brown is not the most intellectually
gifted.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'd still say.
Did you see him the other day? He said, like, I'm not mentally disturbed. I just have a very high IQ and lower intelligence people wouldn't understand, something like that. Yeah.
I guess
that's basically.
If he has higher IQ, I guess
signal for like.
That's the signal. That's it.
That's it. He's okay, but I think Cincinnati. There are a lot of people in the offensive line in the offseason will be like, I want to get paid and I want to go to a contender. Cincinnati have both. There are very few teams that can say we have a lot of cap space, but we're also a team that are ready to contend right now, and that is the Bengals. They can also address it in the draft, although their draft pick is getting worse and worse the better and better they play.
It's the highest pick they can have right now is
29. No, I think 30 actually. No.
Well, if they win, it depends.
Wait, no. Oh yeah, no.
Sure.
Let's say they want to make a trade for a higher draft pick. But what would that look like?
I mean, they could make one. I'm not sure. Trading up.
I think
maybe
they could
go
trade
for
up.
the Eagles picks.
Maybe
who would they even trade up to pick?
An offensive lineman.
Petit Freer, Kenyon Green.
But again, it's a deep tackle class, so I'm not sure if they would need to. If I was the Bengals, I would want to trade up to get like Ekwonu or.
But they're not going to get.
They're not going to trade up into that. You know what I mean? Or Evan Neal.
Echelon.
Yeah. But I think they need that dominant franchise tackle.
Yep.
And I'm not sure. Like maybe they go get Armstead in free agency. I'm not sure how much money they have, but.
Or you mean Teron Armstead?
Or Teron. Who's Arik Armstead's on the Niners? Excuse me. I'm so awful with names. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Or maybe go
Teron Armstead. You've got Ben Jones in free agency. I know, so I've been playing Madden. I'm just like, I know it by heart.
Teron Armstead to me is the most. Seems he will more than likely be a free agent. The Saints don't have money.
I can see since I mean they took Hendrickson from them last year. I couldn't see why
I
they
forgot about that. He's been
again. Although they've got, I think their tackle's okay.
I think they need to upgrade the quarterback position, and I think they needed one more linebacker.
Sorry, I thought you said the quarterback position. No. I'm like, yes.
And I think they might need a defensive tackle. Although
no, I mean
Ogunjobi was good,
but he got injured. But I'm sure.
That defensive line.
DJ Reader was fantastic against
Reader, Ogunjobi, Hendrickson, Hubbard. They're all solid.
I thought Derrick Henry was going to run all over him.
Oh,
great.
I will credit myself.
Deontay Foreman kind of did, but Henry I think he
wasn't.
Well,
he wasn't. No,
I'll credit myself. I said that. Everyone was like, Henry's going to run all over. I did a TikTok, right? Go follow us on TikTok. I did TikTok. I said
shameless plug.
It was I don't know, whatever. I just said the Bengals are gonna blow out the Titans, and everyone's like, Derrick Henry's gonna run all over them. Derrick Henry, and they didn't blow them out technically, but Derrick Henry's gonna Derrick Henry. You're forgetting about Derrick Henry. I'm like, I'm definitely not forgetting about Derrick Henry. But I was like, he's not gonna be the same guy. And
running with a metal plate in your foot has to definitely have some sort of effect on.
I mean, it's
Foreman's the backup, right? Deontay Foreman.
But
Deontay Foreman
looked great.
He looked good.
I don't know why they weren't giving him the ball more. I mean,
after
the first quarter,
and a 4th and 1, both times they didn't give him the ball.
Yeah, after the first quarter, maybe the second half. I mean, if I'm that Titans offensive coordinator, I'm looking at him saying Henry is not ready.
I think it's really hard to say to a 6'3", 200-pound running back who will kill you, hey, I don't want to run with you. Like, I don't want you. We want the smaller. We want the mini Henry. Literally, it's so fun. You looking at all the running backs and duos. Madison and Cook look exactly alike. That hair, they run the same. And then Pollard and Zeke are pretty similar. Not as much. Foreman and Henry, Foreman is literally the smaller Henry. It's aggressive.
I don't know if you can really say Chubb and Hunt are
no, not really.
Lookalikes.
Well, I'd say Chubb's more the power guy.
Joke. Yeah.
Oh no, not here.
Hunt's good. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it's I think for Cincy, definitely looking at the future contenders, and you look at that kind of triad of teams in the Bills, Bengals, and Chiefs, and I think it'll be really because and even more just talking about Cincy. I think Joe Burrow, just how good he's been, really has brought him into just that tier below Allen and Mahomes.
Arguably could rise. If he beats Mahomes, I think he's in that tier.
While he may not even be in that tier, I still think he can compete with those guys.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think
he did. He proved it with when he beat
I think
Mahomes.
he's in that tier. I don't know if the Bills are. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, of quarterbacks?
No. I mean, I think Allen is in that top tier of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Bills are in that top tier of teams. You know what I mean?
I think they are.
Yeah.
I think if they just address a bit more and address that offensive line a bit more.
Internal mic.
Yep.
Thanks, Kian.
Yeah. This is the
we're gonna cut that one out.
Uncensored TheeSportsScoop.
It's fine. It's not so
imagine
big.
that big beginning part out where just fixing the mic, sir, Mike, you guys got to talk right into here, right into here.
Yeah, it's
a struggle.
You'll know we want it to sound the best for you, so we apologize for the interruption. But we're gonna quickly talk about Evan McPherson. Cold. Guess we're going to the AFC Championship, guys.
What do they call him?
Cold.
Evan Kickpherson? Is that what they call him?
No, that's not good.
Evan McCold.
That's what they call him.
Mahomes' new nickname, the Grim Reaper.
That's a good.
A ton of people were like, please don't have that be his nickname. Mike on the mic.
Yeah.
So he's a big Chargers fan. He did a whole video why that shouldn't be his nickname. Because that's just I feel like it doesn't fit him. It should be
no. I like that. No, I like Grim Reaper.
I
think Showtime Mahomes was a bit forced. I didn't like that.
You know how Tom Brady is
TV there 12? Are people who call him Showtime Mahomes.
In his rookie, it was the first year they called him Showtime Mahomes.
I don't remember that. Wow, that's terrible. Oh my god, that's so bad.
No, it's a good one.
I like Grim Reaper because it's scary.
TV 12, PM or 15 p.m.
No,
that's actually that's one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. That's so bad.
You can tell Mikey loves Mahomes. Yeah, you can just tell. All right, but
the Bengals, I think the good thing about them is that basically they're an offensive line away from being set to be contenders for the next 5 years with the Bills, with the Chiefs. So
yeah,
I mean, I think they get an offensive lineman.
You know, I think
they're
it's a
serious
great point.
Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
Burrow is what
I mean, they are serious Super Bowl contenders right now.
Burrow
they're
is
going to
what,
get blown out. By
but they're in the Final Four. I mean,
yeah,
every team has a decent chance.
Burrow is what the Browns
the
wanted
Niners,
Baker
really?
to be.
That's what I've seen that so many times.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of...
Wait, Burrow...
Is what the Browns wanted Baker to be.
Yeah.
Basically, what's insane to
Baker
me is that
was good.
Burrow basically put up the same numbers as Baker did in college, except Baker did it in the Big 12 where they just don't play defense.
I mean, Jamar Chase also had the best offense ever, probably. Or the best team ever. That LSU team was... Look at Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in the NFL right now.
Both Clyde Edwards-Helaire also. I mean, yeah, he's a
I don't know.
That
LSU team is
ridiculous.
One of, if not the greatest college football teams
also the defense,
of all time.
Patrick Queen, Clavon Chason, although not great in the NFL. Christian Fulton, Derek Stingley, Grant Delpit, like crazy.
Yep.
I feel like that another. I feel like that
Chason,
Queen. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean the amount of guys that were drafted in the first round that year was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think LSU set some sort of record for most first rounders.
Yeah. It's been.
And they didn't even have Jamar because he was like.
Yeah, but I think the Bengals are good. I think you found your guy. But we'll move on now to who the Bengals beat in the divisional round. That is the Tennessee Titans. We'll go to you first, Mikey. When you look at Ryan Tannehill, do you think he reached his ceiling? You think it's time to move on? I think it's a very good question.
I don't know if it's time to move on. I mean, who's better? Who would they get?
Aaron Rodgers.
I hated people predicting the Titans to win the Super Bowl. I think the Titans were the worst team in the playoffs last round.
I think if Derrick Henry is healthy, they beat the Bengals, and I think that's a bad excuse because a lot of teams get injured every year. But I think if Derrick Henry is fully 100% healthy, they win that game.
That's tough. I mean, it's
hypothetical situations like that.
It's so hard to make these hypothetical arguments, but it is a good point because Deontay Foreman ran pretty well against the Bengals.
I mean, he's their best player by far.
It's true.
Yeah, obviously, yes.
Like,
I don't know. It's hypothetical. I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's like I was saying earlier with the guys who do the regular season, and you don't know if they can do in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Tannehill is 100% a guy that you just can't see doing in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I was thinking about this. Is this kind of like an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes situation where maybe the Titans need to move on from Ryan Tannehill for a younger type of guy like Malik Willis?
Yeah, that was someone who I loved late. I think it's tough this year for any team to say go get a quarterback in the draft because there's not fantastic ones. But I think if they were to get a guy like Malik Willis, it would be sit behind Tannehill for a year or two.
Probably.
So I think Tannehill, I mean, as much as you like obviously regular season, I agree. I think if you had Henry, I guess that was their only playoff game they played because they had that bye. But the ability for Tannehill to get that number one seed without Henry was impressive. And A.J. Brown was injured. Julio Jones was injured. The defense is nowhere near good.
No, the defense is very good.
Excuse me, nowhere near fantastic.
Tannehill has everything he could possibly want on that offense.
You've got two solid receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, two solid receivers.
So did Brady. So does Rodgers. I mean, Rodgers, you have Devontae Adams. That makes up for three receivers, basically.
I think he had a better overall... Actually, I wouldn't say a better overall team in Cincinnati. But he had a pretty good team. And he just flat out did not play well. He threw 3 picks. Yeah, 3 picks. His
first throw of the game was a pick.
Was a pick to Jesse Bates.
First throw after the second
and then
half.
that Mike Hilton pick, though, that was impressive.
Yeah, no, there were some good picks.
The Mike Hilton pick, that was like tipped in the air to himself.
In replay, I think it showed that maybe it shouldn't have been a pick, right? Like it hit the ground.
No, that was a Burrow pick.
That was the Burrow pick. Okay.
Pick number 35.
I don't know. I didn't watch like the first half of that game. So.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I don't know. I think Mikey, you put it great. It's just a guy who you can't trust to win in the playoffs, and in no way am I going into the playoffs thinking Tannehill's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, when is the last time a team with a mediocre quarterback won the Super Bowl?
Jimmy G. Well, no,
they didn't win.
The Super Bowl.
Joe Flacco, 2012 Ravens.
Flacco's was good though.
No, Peyton.
Yeah, but he never made the Pro Bowl.
Like over the hill, Peyton with the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yes.
That defense was ridiculous.
Yes.
That defense won them that game.
That was actually. I don't think people talk enough about how awful Peyton Manning was that year. 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions.
Brock Osweiler outplayed him.
He had 9 touchdown passes and 17 picks.
I mean, he only played for like half the season though, because he had like a foot like a broke.
He had
foot,
almost double the amount of picks as
He also had the most,
touchdowns.
Peyton Manning also had the most interceptions ever rookie year. I think he had 28. So he always had an interception. I mean, I guess not in his prime, but
9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions.
I mean, I don't think Peyton Manning cares. He knew it was the last year.
Denver.
Yeah, no, I mean, he won the Super Bowl. He's great. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
That year's Denver defense does not get enough respect among the greatest defense of all time. To carry a geriatric Peyton Manning to a Super Bowl that year,
and they were the reason. I think I know they had one. Did they have 2 defensive scores?
Yeah, you want to talk about a quarterback being carried by his defense? That's Peyton Manning in 2015.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, Tannehill to me, I think I definitely think it's been so up and down because it's like, this, when he first broke out in the Titans, like, wow, this guy actually deserves respect, and I think he still does. And I think Tannehill,
I think he's
still a
he's not bad.
He's like, but he's not a quarterback for a team that maybe wants to make the playoffs. So for a team that like Tennessee, who basically by making that Julio Jones trade, like it or not, that was basically them saying, okay, we want to go in for a Super Bowl. You're not going to do that with Ryan Tannehill. Especially with Mahomes, I think Allen,
if they
Burrow, Herbert in the East, I don't try.
If they want to do it with Ryan Tannehill, they got to have a better defense. I mean, I know Derrick Henry is amazing, and that offense is really good. But that defense needs to be better.
Their cornerbacks needs to improve, but they have a really good pass rush. One of the more underrated in the NFL. You got Nico Autry, who's solid. Jeffrey Simmons, who should have been All-Pro this season.
Been fantastic. Harold Landry.
Got Harold Landry. No, he was second team. I think he was second team
Simmons?
All-Pro.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was second team All-Pro. It was first team was Aaron Donald and Cam Hayward. Second team.
I thought you just said All-Pro. I didn't know you just.
Oh no, I meant first. He should have been first team.
I mean, but I think when you look at the stats, there's a big difference between he's never cracked. Oh no, he didn't. Excuse me, on the Dolphins. But recently, Tannehill has not cracked 4,000 yards since he's been on the Titans. And you look at his interceptions. I mean, he was worse than last year.
Yep.
Less yards.
That also is due to injuries.
Less yards, less touchdowns.
When you don't have
really 2020 Tannehill was like the closest to Super Bowl Tannehill you get. 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, 106 passer rating.
He was really good.
3,800 yards.
And they still.
And I mean, they lost.
Yeah, they lost the wild card to the Ravens. So
yeah.
Yeah, overall, I think if Tennessee really want to make that next step, they've got to go in for a quarterback. I don't know where they look, though, because Rodgers, maybe that's impossible.
No, I would not see that. I think the best choice is getting a quarterback and letting them sit. Like Willis, I would love. I mean, with that offense, if he gets to his peak with A.J. Brown, Derek, that would be fantastic.
Because I feel like that renders.
Well, aren't they kind of in win now mode? I mean,
yeah.
How long is Julio Jones going to be on that team?
I mean, Julio Jones, I don't think makes an impact. I don't really think.
I think Julio is their move to go all in, but when you have Tannehill,
they certainly don't want to waste him though.
I mean, I think Julio Jones wastes himself.
I think Julio can be a respectable weapon for another 2 years, and Willis will probably. I'm sure Willis would.
I mean, Julio Jones will always be respected, so he's someone who just takes corners away from an A.J. Brown. I think they're missing a tight end. I think they're arguably missing one more receiver because really, how good is Julio?
Yeah, I would say they need another receiver, need another tight end.
I think the offensive line always needs to be.
No, offensive line is okay.
It's good. Luan's good. I think Saffold's getting older. And then I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure who their center is, but yeah, I think in terms of Tannehill, I think the greatest point to put it is they've reached their ceiling with Tannehill. I think they know what they'll get with him, and that's not a Super Bowl. It's going to be either a divisional game. I think if you're
conference
lucky,
championship,
a conference championship.
I mean, he got to the conference championship.
Yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
If you're lucky, but I don't think he goes any further than that.
Yeah.
He's not going to beat Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, or Herbert, or probably not even Lamar. If
no, right.
You go into.
I mean, he didn't.
He didn't exactly.
Yeah. So
I mean, he did the first time, but that was because of Derrick Henry.
That was it's so funny because you both those games. It was the Ravens who were the Ravens were like, this team is ridiculous. That game they played against the Titans and the Titans win. And again, that was the season where Tannehill got the job over Mariota and then just ended up balling out. But yeah. I think we've seen the ceiling of Tannehill, and again, each offseason gets better than the last. It's gonna be a fantastic offseason for quarterbacks, and especially what teams will do without a ton of talent in the draft, or at least a ton of talent we haven't seen before, like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Joe Burrow. But speaking about more quarterbacks, we'll go to the 49ers and talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. So we've touched on him. And Mikey, I think we have different views. I like Jimmy Garoppolo, but Surge, I think a good way to put it is he the future. And I would say short-term future because I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo necessarily – I guess maybe not. How old is he? He's 30 – is he even – he's probably 30, right? But is he the future or is he a liability for the 49ers. Trey Lance is there. I really like Trey Lance. I think, again, if Trey Lance can play up to his peak, he can compete with – I'm telling you now, he can compete with Allen. He can compete with Mahomes. He can compete with Burrow. If he gets his peak again, we don't know what that will be. If he gets his peak,
for sure. But,
and I think, again, their offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniels, we're not sure if he will stay. That will be a big reason why he may not. But obviously Shanahan, we know how good of a coach he is. So I think that's the question, because it's like, are we going to utilize – if we can keep McDaniels, are we going to really – it's definitely tough, because it's like we have this guy, Trey Lance, who is big, can run, has an arm that can rival those of Mahomes and Allen, has the accuracy that can do that. Trey Lance to me is an all-around quarterback, again, very raw. And then I think what needs to be polished up is his passing. But the question to me is, do I want to waste, if Mike McDaniels ends up somehow we keep him on, hold on to him this season, is he going to end up leaving? And then, like, do we want to use him to develop Trey Lance while we can? I don't know. I'm tough here. Mikey, I know what you think.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, I like Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, he seems like a great guy. He's, charismatic, very good looking.
All right.
All right. Fair enough.
But he's just not that guy. You cannot argue
but
that
I think
he
in
is.
every way he's proven that he is. Like, I think that's what's so
Did he win the Super Bowl?
No.
Then he hasn't.
Okay, well, fair enough. And I think, but he got there, and I think that's what the real difference between, like, him.
They win that Super Bowl. If he makes that throw to
Emmanuel Sanders, I think.
Well, I think it was Sanders. If he makes that throw at the end of the game, they win that game.
I forgot Sanders on the 49ers.
I totally forgot about that too. I was thinking Debo, but yeah. But if he makes that throw,
I think Garoppolo,
they win that game.
All the New England quarterbacks we've seen come out, get carried, whatever. What do you guys want to say carried? Mac Jones, carried by defense.
Oh, Jimmy G carried.
Jimmy G.
Like,
all right.
But I think there's no argument that
getting to the Super Bowl is getting to the Super Bowl. And I think all I want to say, and I've kind of said this more and more as Jimmy has started to win more games, I think he needs to start to be put into that category of, in his division, really, how much better is Stafford than Jimmy G? Really, when you really think about it,
Stafford is 1,000 times better than Jimmy G.
I would say he's
I really think if you put Garoppolo on the Rams, I don't think
to be fair,
there's too much of a difference.
I think they've got equal supporting cast.
Yeah, so I really think if you put Garoppolo on the
Jimmy
Rams,
G in the 2019 NFC Championship game threw for what, like 17 yards, something like that.
6 for 8. I don't know. I think he had like 70 something. I think.
It's something with a 7 in it, but it was less than 100 yards passing, and
they crushed the Packers.
Yeah,
it wasn't
Raheem Mostert
ran for 200 yards.
Yeah, like 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the definition of getting carried by a superior team. He is not good. He does not. I mean, you have to look. Does Jimmy G elevate the Niners?
Oh, definitely not, for sure.
But then they need to move on.
But I wouldn't say
I don't know how you can say that.
I think he's 100% a liability. They got so lucky against the Packers. They would have lost that game if they don't get a blocked punt, a blocked field goal. I mean, he would have been the reason they lost that game if they lost that game.
But then again, you have to account for that, obviously. I mean, yeah, I didn't make this excuse for Aaron Rodgers, but again, if you're a West Coast team, maybe it's a bit more viable. You're going into the snowy weather. It's obviously a lot more. You're not going to be as inclined to throw the ball as much. I mean, that is actually a great excuse.
He had 144 yards, I think 144 yards passing and no touchdowns.
131 a pick.
130. That's worse than what I thought initially.
And the Cowboys had a pick and 172.
And that's in like a dome, so that's like an excuse.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day they won.
They won, but
it wasn't because of him. It was in spite of him.
But I think I think when you look at Stafford, a big reason why the Rams were losing games was because of Stafford. And Garoppolo, as much as he's been playing bad, he has not let those picks or bad performances let the 49ers lose that game.
Can we have a stat comparison? How many touchdowns did Jimmy Garoppolo throw this year?
20.
How many touchdowns did Matthew Stafford throw this year? 40-something, right?
Let's see.
No way. No, Stafford, again, I'm not saying they're the same. 41. Holy.
41, yeah. 41.
Yeah.
How many picks did Jimmy Garoppolo throw this year?
12. Stafford threw 17.
That is such a big difference in terms of
I'm not
QB
saying
play.
Garoppolo is better than Stafford, but I really think in the grand scheme of things, if you were to put Garoppolo on the Rams. And again, I know this conversation people hate because like it's like, well,
hypothetical.
But like, really, is there a difference in the Rams' success this season if Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback? And I really don't think
that's. I don't even know what to say to that because that's probably the dumbest take I've ever heard out of your mouth. Kid.
I just don't think it is at all, and I think it's completely fair.
I didn't know you're a big Stafford. Oh, I almost said Padford.
I can't believe you just said that. You seriously think that if Garoppolo was on the Rams, they'd have the same amount of success?
I wouldn't say same amount. I would definitely not say same amount, but I'm saying the Rams are a
I
team
think
that
they'll be
I
in the
feel
playoffs.
like
I think they could be where they are.
It's like too big to fail. They're too good to fail.
Yeah.
They're like
you think that Garoppolo beats the Bucs. You think he beats the Bucs.
Yeah.
You think he makes that throw to Cup at the end of the game.
No, I don't think
that's the exact throw that he missed.
Cup was wide
to
open.
Sanders.
Cup was wide open.
It's still an amazing throw.
On him, but he had to fade back and throw.
It's still a great throw.
He
threw it off his back foot.
No, it's a good throw. Okay, it's a good throw.
But he was like,
that is the exact throw that Garoppolo missed in the Super Bowl to win that game.
I would definitely. I don't think they win that with Garoppolo, but I think overall as the season, they still are a pretty good playoff team.
Jimmy G is a guy. Yes, he wins. And you have to respect that. He wins games.
Yeah,
and I would say
but they don't win the game because of him. They win the game in spite of him.
Here are my thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo. He reminds me of like an Alex Smith type of guy, who again, like a guy that like
Alex Smith was better.
I'd say I agree. No. I think he was better, but he was the type of guy who you can rely on to kind of just be that check down kind of guy. But he won't lose you games. But he's also. I think he gets a lot of hate. I think a lot of people treat him like he's a bottom 10 quarterback, which he isn't. I still think he's a solid quarterback.
Top 15. I would argue right now.
I would say top 20.
So
I'd say top 20.
15.
Easily top 15.
I'd say top 20.
And I think, really, if you think about it deep in your heart, I have to go over the top 10, but I think...
No, not top 10.
I think he could be a top 12, and I think he could be considered for that top 10. I don't think he would be because there are 10 very good quarterbacks again. I'm telling...
There are a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think Jimmy G goes to teams and he wins. And winning to me is a big quarterback stat. And Jimmy G wins.
Winning is a quarterback stat, but winning.
Do you think winning is a quarterback stat?
But you can't just say winning is a quarterback stat, but just take all the wins out of context. So a lot of wins can happen in spite of
the 49ers are at the NFC Championship right now out of nowhere. No one nobody all right, people predicted the Niners to win. Nobody thought, you didn't think the Niners would be in the NFC Championship. You think the Niners would make the playoffs. Did you think that? I mean, that's how
I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs.
Look at their division.
I thought they were going to lose the wild card.
You thought
I knew they were going to be the Packers. Though.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
True.
Yes, I did. I knew they were going to be the Packers, and I told Serge that too.
Oh,
he can attest to that.
You did.
I told Serge, Charlie.
Serge told me you said okay, fair enough. Lucky guess because you don't like Rodgers. Let's be honest.
No, it's because he's 0-4 against the Niners in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. Also, but all right, fair enough. But I don't know.
All right, but if you want to talk about winning being a quarterback stat,
do you think it's a stat?
He doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Stat? Do you think winning should be a quarterback? Like,
I think it's quarterback. I think you can look at it as a quarterback stat, and I think I do use that in arguments a lot.
Takes in context, like Deshaun Watts, for example, last year when the Texans were bad, but he, I think, had the most passing yards that season, and he was fantastic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't winning, but he was playing great. Like, it's right. I just for like kind of samples, I think. Like, for right now, if I'm the Giants, I would love Jimmy G as our quarterback next year. I would love Jimmy G as our quarterback next year.
I mean, yeah, I'd love anyone over Daniel Jones.
No, but it's not that. I would love Jimmy G because I think it's a transition year. Because I don't think it's worth going for a quarterback this year, especially in the draft. Because, I think we need other options. And Jimmy G, to me, is like, I would take him if I'm the Giants.
Yeah, listen, I respect Jimmy G. He wins games.
Not even move on from Daniel Jones, but just have Jimmy G there for potential competition. And again, I'm not sure if he would want that. He'll probably stick with the Niners, but I'm just saying, again, back to the conversation, I just think Jimmy G, to me, has proven this season he deserves another year with the Niners.
No, I disagree with that.
I think the Niners season isn't over, guys. Like, they could beat, like, they have a serious chance of beating the Rams.
And winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. But
I wouldn't say anything's possible. The Niners have a decent chance.
Yeah, I think
if they're in the Super Bowl, you have a decent chance to win the
teams, the Niners are probably the least likely.
100% the least likely.
No, I think the Bengals. I think the Bengals right now.
Guys, the Niners are what, 9-8?
I think the Niners are going to go to the Super Bowl. I think it'll be Chiefs.
Listen, it's not impossible. It's not impossible that they win the Super Bowl. I would be surprised if they win the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't be like completely shocked out of my mind.
I don't think if the Bengals to me, if they won the Super Bowl, I'd be like, holy crap.
Yes.
I just talked about at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That would have been something else.
But I think the Bengals are better than the Niners, though.
Yeah, I agree.
I disagree.
I actually have
Niners are
Niners
slightly
Super Bowl.
more
I would
complete.
pick the Bengals as my team to win.
And that would probably be a good game too.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I think the Niners, though, despite their obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is a slightly, I'm just kidding, much worse quarterback than Joe Burrow.
Is he really?
Stop. But with the Niners, I think they're a much more complete team than Cincinnati. Although I think they both have solid defenses. The Niners, no question, is better. And I think in terms of weapons, you could say the Bengals are better, but the Niners are not too shabby themselves. Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, who's been really good down the stretch. Juwan Jennings has been really good down the stretch. And they've got a much better offensive line, the best tackle in football. Some could argue even the best player in football this season in Trent Williams. They've got a squad. And I would say overall with these teams, I think the Niners have a slightly better team, but I think the Bengals could win just because of their significant advantage at quarterback. But to our point with Jimmy Garoppolo, I would say with him, I think he's a solid starting quarterback for a lot of teams in the National Football League, but I think they still need to move on from him and go for Trey Lance. Unless he plays like he balls out of his mind in the NFC Championship and the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl. If he does that, then you could second guess. But if they don't, your plan was for Trey Lance to sit a year like Mahomes and then take over and like elevate this team to the next level. Then I would, if he's like same old Jimmy, then I'd say move on from him, trade him to a team that could use a solid quarterback like a Garoppolo.
I think. Like, you want to talk about winning, right? You want to talk about winning with Jimmy G, even though he has very subpar stats.
Okay.
You got to compare him to other QBs like that, right?
Okay.
Like Joe Flacco or...
Matt Stafford.
Huh?
Matt Stafford.
But he doesn't win.
Who?
Stafford doesn't win.
Oh, you're talking about winning quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Ryan Tannehill, I think, more or less.
No, Tannehill wasn't a winning quarterback at the beginning.
Anyway, okay. Like...
Tom Brady is a glorified Jimmy Garoppolo.
Like, Kerry Collins reminds me a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Or what's his name? Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer, yes.
No. He's better than Trent Dilfer. Let's not throw his name in the mud. No. Come on, Trent Dilfer.
I think Kerry Collins reminds me a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo. Kerry Collins got the Giants to the Super Bowl and lost and played terribly.
But Jimmy didn't play terribly in the Super Bowl.
No, he didn't play terribly. No. He played all right, but he did not play.
But maybe you have to do better than all right.
You got to be like, what about like Eli Manning?
Right, and
we can all agree he's better than Jimmy G.
Yeah, but I think of that. Yeah.
But he's another guy who, a big reason for, I think he will be inducted in the Hall of Fame, not first ballot, but the biggest reason is the fact that he won games, that he won 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
That's a really good.
The fact is, Jimmy G won. Got to the Super Bowl and lost.
No, I'm not saying Jimmy G will be a Hall of Famer. He will not be. I don't think he will be. I think that's the.
I don't think Jimmy G will. I mean, well, he does have a Super Bowl ring with backup with the Patriots, but he will never win a Super Bowl as a starter ever.
Okay, and I think. I think his best chance is right now, and I think if he doesn't this year, he won't. I'll agree with that, and. Back to your point, sir, in terms of Trey Lance, I would probably agree starting Trey Lance because I think the potential he has and how I think next year could be the crucial year where if Trey Lance doesn't play, then maybe he ends up not being a good guy. But if he does, then the 49ers end up being that team. But then the question becomes, do the 49ers hold on to Jimmy G and let him be the backup to Trey Lance, or do you move? That's the whole question. But again, I think the 49ers, in terms of moving on, I would agree. I think it's probably Trey Lance's year. Again, if Jimmy G wins a Super Bowl, that will throw a wrench into the mix, and we'll have to.
I'd still move on.
Yeah, I honestly think
you drafted Trey Lance for a reason.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine just a quarterback in his first season starting for the team that just won the Super Bowl. That's just unprecedented.
Yeah, but I know. But we'll move on. The transitions are flawless. Matt Stafford, who we were just arguing about, proved me wrong. I thought the Rams Cardinals game, I was like, this is two frauds in the playoffs. I had the Rams winning, but whatever. I don't think this will be.
What was the quote you and Dylan used? Team of losers.
Team of losers, which I still.
Which
agree
actually,
the Rams or the Cardinals?
Rams. Still a
team of losers. What do you mean?
4 fumbles.
No, team of losers, like they can't win like the playoffs. Or a team that like will like look flashy, have look really good on paper. But
they almost
won
the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. Come on.
I know, and that I'm gonna say this right here. I've said this before. We're talking about this is all about glorifying Matt Stafford and why we love Matt Stafford and blah blah. This is what the segment's about. I really think it's a marginal difference between Goff and Stafford.
No. Come on.
I really do.
Come on.
I really think it's a marginal difference.
I think you just overdid. Mikey just said that the difference between Goff. you just said the difference between Stafford and Garoppolo wasn't much, and Mikey said that was the worst take ever. Now you said there's not a difference between Stafford and Goff.
But it's not that there's not a difference. I think it's marginal, really.
Okay.
Goff went to the Super Bowl.
We have to go to
Goff.
Mikey.
Goff went to the Super Bowl. Did Goff have as good of a team as right now that the Rams have? No.
I don't even remember.
No,
I don't remember half of that season.
They had a good team. I'd say they had Brandon Cooks. They had Robert Woods. They had Cooper
You don't even
Kupp,
know what Stafford's going to do this year. He could win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, he could win the Super Bowl, and I would still think.
What's the difference between Goff and Garoppolo? That's a better comparison.
No. Not
yes.
No.
Yes.
Not all.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you could say that, but I'm saying that both of them are close to Stafford, so you're just proving my argument right.
Well, Jared Goff was trash this year, right? Really bad.
No, Jared Goff. He was bad, but
he's saying a
trash might be a little too far.
No,
but he had a very bad season.
They were
this year.
not winning games; they were close.
But statistically, terrible year.
All right, look at stats. In terms of stats, I don't think they really apply very well. There are some quarterbacks.
I'm just saying
matter.
He didn't play well
I think
this year.
Jared Goff being on the Lions just really doesn't. He had 3,000 yards. He had 19 touchdowns. He had 8 picks.
That's not very good.
He had 8 picks.
All right, but I'm just saying he played bad. Matthew Stafford played on that team his entire career, and he had some very good seasons with the Lions.
Yeah, it's also Jared Goff's first season and probably the worst line. His number one receiver was a 3rd-round pick in Amon-Ra who ended up being good. He didn't have DeAndre Swift for most of the season. His defense
is really
was
good,
atrocious. As much as people want to say it, Dan Campbell's not a good head coach.
He has the worst roster in the NFL by far.
They could have won.
And I'm not bashing Jared Goff right now.
No, I know. A ton of that play calling was awful. But again, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Stafford, and we'll talk about Stafford and Goff. I really do think it's marginal. And I think if you look at the Rams this season, maybe they would have won that Bucs game. I don't. It's very similar to my Garoppolo argument. I really don't think that Jared Goff makes this team significantly worse.
Okay, here's all I'm going to say. The Rams brought in Matthew Stafford for the reason that they think that Stafford, because of his arm talent, is superior quarterback play, that he can make plays in big playoff games and win games that Goff wouldn't. In that Bucs game, with the Bucs storing back under fluke circumstances to make it from 27-3, 27-27,
okay,
Goff doesn't win that game at that point. That's all I'm going to say. He would
No,
fold.
He does not. 100% loses that game.
He would not win that game. No
he doesn't make that throw. He loses that game. But I would like to read off the list of NFL records that Matthew Stafford holds. Fastest player to reach 20,000 career passing yards in 71 games. Fastest player to reach 30,000 career passing yards in 109 games. Fastest player to reach 40,000 career passing yards. I'm going to not do the games because that's too long. Fastest player to reach 45,000 career passing yards. Most fourth-quarter comebacks in a season with 8 in 2016.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Most passing attempts in a season. That's not a maybe that's actually that's just like a meaningless stat. That doesn't really
makes your argument a little bit worse.
First player to complete 60% or more of passes in every game in a single season in 2015.
Wow, that's impressive.
TD interception of 323 to 161, 49,995 passing yards. So that's basically 50,000. 323 to 161?
It's not like that impressive.
Yeah, because you're comparing him to guys like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. Like he's not going to have
Tom
that
Brady
kind of
doesn't have that good of a
63% career completion percentage, career passer rating of 91.1. He has amazing stats. I mean, it's just the fact that he's playing for the Detroit Lions. Like,
Jared Goff has a career completion percent of 64%. He has.
But he played with the Rams.
He played with a much better team. He's played for way less than Matt Stafford.
You cannot in any way say that what Goff had with the Rams and use that against him when talking about Stafford. Stafford has Odell Beckham, Von Miller, Aaron Donald.
I'm talking about his career. I'm not talking about this year.
Cooper Kupp was the best.
We're talking about his career.
Oh, Stafford's career.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about right now. I'm saying a difference on the Rams. All right, yeah, great. He was good on the Lions, who were awful. He didn't do anything. His career was wasted with the Lions.
Sadly.
It is now.
He would have been a Hall of Famer if he was on any other team.
No, probably.
Who knows? Maybe he wins 3 Super Bowls.
I think he has a really good chance if he wins for the next 3-4 years, whatever's left in his career.
I think he's a chance.
He has a great chance, not just at a Super Bowl, but at the Hall of Fame.
Ooh. Okay, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, hey, if he wins 2 Super Bowls, yeah, sure. I mean,
what I'm saying right now is again, we're comparing them on the Rams. He has a significantly better team.
What is the most touchdowns passes in a season that Jared Goff ever had with the Rams?
I don't know, and I'm not going to tell you because stats. I'm not going to tell you. I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
I don't know. But I'm saying he had Cooper Kupp this season, who had one of the best. He almost had the best receiver season we've ever seen in an entire season. Tyler Higbee's consistently underrated. Who did Goff have? He had Robert Woods.
Oh no! Wait, no. He had Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp.
Cooks was not very good. Cooks was
Cooks
was
good.
He was good. Cooks is one of the most underrated receivers.
Cooks was really good at that. That was like Cooks' prime. That was Woods'
Cooks' prime. No, it wasn't.
Well, it wasn't his prime. His prime was in
Wait,
New
did
Orleans.
he go Rams, Patriots, or Patriots? You went Rams, Patriots, right? Or did you go Patriots, Rams? You went Patriots, Rams.
Patriots, Rams.
Yeah. I don't think that was his prime.
Oh no, his prime was in New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was still very good at the time.
The most touchdowns Jared Goff ever had in a season was 2018 when he had 32.
Which is great.
That's so
and Stafford just had 41.
Yes, look at his team. Cooper Kupp had like 20 touchdowns.
But no,
or like
to be
19
fair,
touchdowns.
To be fair, Goff
Jared Goff had Cooper Kupp too. And Kupp didn't take that next step until Stafford came along.
No, and I think there's a fair argument because I think definitely Kupp's performance, because how much they gelled together was Stafford and Kupp. That being said, the receiver has to take some initiative to be that good. You don't just like that doesn't just happen.
Well, maybe just like
you think he wasn't trying with Goff?
Like, you
think he just didn't care?
Also, Kupp only plays in the slot. Like it's easy. Like it's not.
It's
hard for
easy to have one of the best receiving seasons.
That's what all of you who hate Kupp say. I'm completely joking. That's not true. I love Kupp, but I'm just saying. But it's not like I think it's not fair to be like, all right, well, Kupp's only good because of Stafford. Like that's not true.
I didn't say that.
But I'm saying he gets Odell Beckham, who was fantastic now. After.
Well, Odell Beckham was considered washed when he was in Cleveland.
I'm just saying Odell Beckham was not good with Baker.
But that was
Kupp wasn't as good with Goff.
And all of a sudden he's good with Stafford.
And Kupp wasn't as good with Goff.
But it's just because he's good. It's not because Stafford's good.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't think Matt Stafford's a bad quarterback. But I don't want that to start to be.
No. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that Stafford elevated the play of 2 wide receivers who were struggling with, like, I'd say mediocre quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, and Stafford made them better. Isn't that an indictment on how Stafford plays as quarterback?
No, I think you have to give and take, because then that also goes to Kupp and Kupp and Odell, and they're like, well, why can't you produce with quarterbacks who are average? Then it goes to them, like Brandon Cooks has been able to do it. Brandon Cooks has been like it hits your argument a little bit more, because now it's like, well, why you know what I mean, like they can't play with average quarterbacks. So that I think is a little bit like, again, that doesn't really help the Stafford. But I really think, and again, I think there's obviously more evidence, and I don't want to push the narrative a lot where like there would be no difference. There obviously would be, but I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, if you were the Rams and you say like you weren't thinking about trading for Stafford, I don't think there would have been, and I could be completely wrong, because maybe Kupp doesn't end up having the season, and I think maybe more unless he doesn't. But I really think there's a difference that's not very, very big, and I do think maybe the Rams wouldn't have been as successful. I think the Rams would still be in the playoffs.
I mean, they'd still be in the playoffs with like 99% of starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
So, Mikey doesn't agree with that.
Yeah, but I think 9% of the court, you're looking at the quarterback.
But like they're not in the NFC Championship without a quarterback like a Matthew Stafford, with a quarterback like a Jared Goff or a Baker Mayfield. So
Stafford has gotten nothing but disrespect his entire career.
He's had a very
but the thing is, I don't dislike Stafford. Like, I love Stafford. I really think he's a good quarterback. But I'm just saying, and it's almost me playing devil's advocate, where it's really like,
it's hard to win that.
If if we were to go back and let Goff stay for a year, like, would the Rams be really that much worse. Like I don't think they would be.
I disagree.
Yeah, I also completely.
Should we move on though to the? We're gonna skip the Nathaniel Hackett. We already talked about.
Yeah,
that.
right.
So
we'll move on.
Remaining.
Now we'll talk about the head coaching. So obviously, very, very interesting. Definitely a little bit. It's a little bit more of a complicated topic.
Do you also want to go over the Matt Eberflus stuff that you talked about?
No, I already went over that. Make sure you guys go check it out. I wasn't a big fan. I don't know too much about him. So
I didn't even know who that is.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't.
I knew about him. I think he's a head coaching.
He had connections with people on the Bears,
but he was also, I think, he was a candidate last year as well. I think
a lot of people had him as like the number second best.
Wait, is he their new coach?
He's their head
coach.
Okay. But I liked actually. I think he's been considered a leader, and he really kind of elevated like the progress of guys like Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke.
Well, that defense has been fantastic.
Yeah, the defense has been fantastic for a few years now. I think. Again, if he's a leader, I think he deserves a head coaching job. I think it's more of an issue: is he the right fit for the? Is he the right fit for the Bears? And obviously, maybe you want an offensive mind like a Dable, although a lot of people aren't really sold on him. Maybe it's just Josh Allen, or maybe a Mike McDaniel, or.
My whole thing was, and this was the casual take with Eberflus, and I said this is the casual take. I know, and again, casual. I think an offensive coordinator just for Fields would have been the better hire. I think Flores should have been the hire, and I know he obviously.
But Flores is.
I know his offensive coordinator. I'm saying a more, and Flores is tough because I don't know how you define him as an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded. But I think Flores to me seems like a guy who can develop.
But Flores defense-minded.
Yeah, no, I know, but I think it's really tough for me because I think Nagy, was offensive-minded, but you look at the way he plays offense, and that's what I was talking about, is more defensive-minded. So obviously with head coaches, it's tougher to say, like, when they're an offensive coordinator, they're offensive-minded, quite obviously.
Yeah. Why do you need an offensive-minded head coach to develop a young quarterback?
It's a casual take. I know. It's a completely casual take. I think with the whole thing with people saying, and I think now it actually makes a lot more sense, is he'll be the head coach, but he can go hire an offensive
exactly.
coordinator.
Like a guy like one of the best names I feel like for offensive coordinators. How has Pep Hamilton not been hired for a team that like
Eric Bieniemy?
Eric Bieniemy. Well,
he'll be
Bieniemy won't be a head. He wouldn't be an offensive coordinator.
He's also been completely taken out of.
Oh,
coaching.
I thought you said head coach. Sorry.
No, it's about offensive coordinators, like guys like Pep Hamilton who could really be elevated to that. Luke Getz, the Packers passing game coordinator. I think he could be a guy that. Again, if you have a good young quarterback, maybe you go there.
I think what's so attractive about this Bears team is Justin Fields.
The potential of Justin Fields.
Same with the Jaguars. But I think, Serge, and it's a very rough take and very abstract, but you look at Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator, goes to the Jets, and Wilson was not great.
No, I mean, he really showed a lot of progression under Mike LaFleur. Really was,
it's a casual take because casual takes, you don't have a lot of – I don't really have a ton of evidence. My whole thing when I originally saw it, I was like, I would have liked an offensive-minded coach. Again, then you look at it, he can hire one. So, when you're talking about Sean McDermott, Dable really was the – Sean McDermott's fantastic, but Dable was the big reason why Allen took that
I think
step.
Also, I'm not sure who our quarterback's coach is, but I know that they always praised him on how – he was the real impact on Allen. And he also has some private trainer who it was like Carson Palmer's brother.
Something. Right. He's big on TikTok. Jordan Palmer.
Yeah, Jordan Palmer. He's a big guy for multiple players. I think he does Mahomes too.
Yeah.
But he's apparently some big
QB whisperer.
Oh yeah. QB coach was Ken Dorsey. Yeah. I knew that. I've heard that.
Ken Dorsey. Yeah. I've heard McDermott and Dayball praise him a lot.
Yeah, I think. Is he still the? I
think so. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he got an offensive coordinator job somewhere. Yeah.
Now,
who needs an OC? Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Dayball. I think if Dayball leaves the Bills, which I would not be surprised by. I think that Dorsey becomes the new offensive coordinator for the Bills.
Oh yeah, what John Dorsey? Wait, no.
Ken Dorsey.
The
quarterback's coach.
Oh yeah. That's the guy? Oh, okay.
That's what you look at for the Saints. They're who is their coach? Who's the one rumored to be now? Like they're just gonna
Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Or what was the other guy's name? He used to be a coach. Why am I forgetting his name? It's like they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What
was his name?
Was he the former Lions?
Dennis Green.
No, Aaron Glenn.
Dennis Green, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He's also head coaching.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's in terms of the Bears, I think again what all of the rookie teams, all the teams with rookie quarterbacks are now going to sophomore years. it's that is what I mean. No one Chicago, okay, not bad as Cincinnati, but not particularly an attractive city to coach for. But I think. I guess technically they're the first NFL team. That's the only real thing. But we'll go to Jacksonville. So talking about the rookie guys, like Jacksonville's interesting
one of
because
the most spicy stories of the offseason.
Serge, break it down for us.
Well, basically, Leftwich just came in, just like said.
Did he overtly say this?
I don't think he'd overtly say this,
no,
but he probably.
He can.
I mean. He basically said Jacksonville's like, this is like balls. Like he's basically goes in and just says, you know what? I'll be your head coach, but you got to hire your GM. It's like the GM's the guy who also like could make the head coaching hire. So it's like you got some serious guts to do that. And he wants his own guy, Adrian Wilson, the Cardinals VP, to be the GM. And honestly, as much as it sounds like, oh, it's disrespectful to like tell the team that want to hire you to fire their GM, that's disrespectful. But it's hard to coexist as a head coach and a GM if you're not on the same page. So it makes sense why he'd be like, either it's Balky or me.
Well, it's also like, does anyone want to come to Jacksonville?
Exactly. That's another reason why. Basically, I think Eberflus is the only other guy who they got a second interview with, and not many people really want a head coaching gig in Jacksonville. So it's like, I'm your main guy. I'm one of your only guys. So you can do this on my terms. And I think now it looks increasingly likely like that Balky will be fired and that Adrian Wilson, the Cardinals VP, will be the GM, which I think would be great news for Jackson because I don't like Balky. I think he was also the guy who kind of dismantled those 49ers teams, I think, in the Harbaugh era, the post-Harbaugh era, where, like, remember they were really good with Kaepernick and they had a good defense and a solid offense.
I think Leftwich is almost a lock as the Jaguars head coach.
He was basically a lock a couple of days ago, but it's just taking so long because of the Adrian Wilson thing, the Balky saga. But I think eventually it's going to go in Leftwich's way because I think all Jaguars fans are all like, fire Balky. Like, this is like a betrayal of the organization if you don't side with Leftwich. But it's a crazy story really to go in there. And I think it'd be a good head coaching hire though for Jacksonville, especially like I said, you want to develop your young quarterback, a guy like Byron Leftwich, an offensive-minded coach for Trevor Lawrence, who he got completely ruined for season 1, but I don't know.
Trevor Lawrence this year was really bad.
I think
he
was
really bad. And I think and a lot of it was on him. But when you have your head coach as Urban Meyer,
but like Davis Mills was better than Trevor Lawrence this year.
But I think you could argue the Jaguars even had probably even more inner turmoil than the Texans, which is hard to beat. But
you could say they had a better roster than the Texans, though.
Not really. I think defense.
They had Brandon Cooks, who are the better.
I don't know. They're both really bad teams.
It's hard.
They're both really bad.
Comparing two horrifically bad teams, I don't think you're really getting at. But
I don't know. And I mean, it's rookie year. You never know. But it's hard to. I struggle to see Lawrence really being what we thought he would be in the NFL.
I think it's again. I think obviously this is like the de facto like thing, but what about Josh Allen? But he basically showed that it is possible to be bad to start off your career, and
that's why Allen was so amazing, is because like nobody does that. Like Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions his first season, and he's really.
I'm telling you, watch Trevor Lawrence be an MVP candidate next year.
Okay, bro. You're having a lot.
I'm telling you, I'm
the Jaguars are not even close to a good enough roster to make Trevor Lawrence even close to an MVP candidate. I think a realistic expectation for
back.
I like Keaton's got a lot of hot takes.
No, but it's not really maybe not MVP candidate. All right,
but like I think they should try and get him into that top 20, top. Maybe if you're having a really good season, maybe you want to get him to that top 15 category. But I think at least top 20 should be the goal.
Realistically, looking at that receiving core, like it had potential. Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, Garyon Conley. Or not Garyon Conley. He's a corner.
Chris Conley was there a couple of seasons ago. I mean,
but the thing is, like Josh Allen was a guy who was looked at that is a project. You know, they knew he was going to be a project. They knew what they were getting into. Yeah, Lawrence was supposed to go in there and be really good right away,
no matter the situation, which is a bit concerning. But then again, he probably went to like the worst possible situation to go. Like, let's be honest, what really was in favor for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville?
Urban Meyer.
Nothing.
It was Urban Meyer.
Yeah, they staked a lot on Urban Meyer,
and he was arguably on the level of Adam Gase. Like, he was awful.
One of the worst head coaches in the history of the NFL.
His play calling was like, his play calling probably wasn't as bad as Gase, but he was just such a cancer to the locker room. That's just like.
When was the last time a coach got hired and fired in the same season? I think it was.
What
that
was
happens.
his
I think
name?
pretty.
I think it was like that Cardinals coach Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's not that rare. I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Cardinals, different story, but I think I like this Trevor Lawrence conversation.
David Coley actually year one he also got fired.
But
mid-season, David Coley shouldn't have been fired. I don't think he did a pretty good job. I don't know. I was excited when I saw Urban Meyer got fired because I wanted him for Notre Dame, but instead I don't know anything about that new coach.
DC, random.
Yeah.
Well, David Coley and the Raiders won, but I mean I feel like whatever. But I think. What would your sophomore expectations be for him, Mikey, for Trevor Lawrence?
Or what would you want?
I think what I want at him, I want him to succeed. I really liked him at Clemson. He seems like a great guy. He has a lot of What I want from him is 20 touchdowns.
Really?
Oh, that's
okay.
Yeah, 20 touchdowns. 10 or less interceptions.
Okay.
I want more wins than this season.
Yeah.
I want some real I want to see his leadership qualities out there more than anything else, honestly. Like, can he be he was a leader in college, can he be a leader in the pros? And I don't know. We got to see that.
I think what was just shock everyone with Trevor Lawrence is he literally never lost. High school, college, he did not lose.
That's true,
which must be so weird.
And that could have been a big deal for him coming in.
And when he did, they contended. So I think next season, my what I expect is I guess we'll go for a wheel. I think I want him to have 25 touchdowns. I think 15 less interceptions. I think 10's a little that's
10's that's good.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not crazy, but I'd say it's.
But that's like top tier.
Well, I don't see him throwing the ball a lot next year.
I think
they get Etienne. I mean, they have big expectations for him too. He was a first round pick. I mean,
although I think he'll be used a lot in the passing game.
Yeah, but I think what I want to see from Trevor Lawrence is when you look at the Jaguars when they were losing games, they did not look competitive. They didn't look like a competitive team.
They definitely have to be a lot.
They need to be more competitive because you look at wins wise, they probably won't improve by.
I mean, their biggest win was the Bills, and he didn't play well in that at all. Yeah, he played awful in that game actually.
So I think my expectation, I think it needs to be, they need to have competition.
They need to compete.
They need to compete.
Be like an NFL functioning.
Yeah, they need to compete. And because you look at, I'm not watching a Jacksonville game. I was Jaguars Texans. I'm like, why is this being televised right now? Like an XFL game would do better than this. It was just awful. And I think
USFL now.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this guy physically is 6'6". Arm strength to match any quarterback in the league, and I think what the difference is, you see when Allen gets those, the arm strength is shown so much more and is evident so much more when you have a good receiver like a Diggs, the guys who can take the steps. So I think the receiver, probably getting that receiver.
They need to get a receiver. They need to get a better offensive line. I mean, Jacksonville, just take best player at everything.
Yeah. It's going to be Edge. It's going to be Thibodeau. It's going to be Hutchinson. It's going to be either one of them.
But then they got to also get a good offensive line. Got to get receivers. I think this year the priority for Lawrence is kind of to get into that competent NFL tier range and kind of really show that he can be that guy in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants look. I mean, the Giants and the Jaguars look like the two most incompetent offenses in the NFL. And let's not forget that the Giants had Mike Glennon, who has a hollow brain playing quarterback. Yes. So it was tough for us. But let's go into some more coaching stuff. So Josh McDaniels to the Raiders.
Ooh, that's an
Patriots OC. Serge, what do you think about that one?
McDaniels already proved he can't.
He already proved he couldn't in Denver. And then my problem is that my problem with McDaniels is that it's going to be a complete shift in the Raiders locker room from that. Do you hear about Rich Bisaccia? He was writing letters to his players about their season overall.
Honestly,
and then
I'd
you're going to have
with their...
and he's a nice calm, cool, collected guy, and then you're McDaniels, who's he wants to be Belichickian, I'm the guy, listen to me, cold demeanor. Yeah, and I mean, usually with most Belichick disciples, it just doesn't work out. So I don't like this hire. I mean, first of all, I don't like moving on from Rich Bisaccia when why fix what isn't broken, but also going for a guy like McDaniels who already proved that he couldn't do it. Although it's a very Raiders-esque hire, like flashy, like we want to imitate the best so we can be the best, but I just don't see it working out there.
They should hire Flores if they want a guy.
Yeah, if any Belichick disciple, why not
Flores? To me right now is the best candidate out of all of them.
I think why was he fired? Like, do we know why he was fired?
Our Dolphins fan Dylan says that there was like
follows Dolphins news with 4 followers on Instagram,
and he says basically,
I'm joking. Dylan will get very mad if he sees that.
Basically, he said that he hated Tua. Flores hated Tua.
It's not as much. He wanted Herbert, and
I keep seeing so many things about like anonymous Dolphins players saying really bad things about Tua.
And I'm like,
it's completely warranted.
And I'm being like, I mean, we're not talking about Tua right now. But I'm talking about with Flores. I mean, maybe he was warranted in some of these criticisms. But my point really about this is that with the Raiders, I don't think McDaniels makes sense when you have a better option out there in Flores, who proved that he could do a better job with a team that I feel like Dolphins similar skill level to the Raiders. I think Raiders are a better quarterback,
just a better quarterback.
And flat out better quarterback.
Yeah.
Derek Carr's a solid quarterback. It's not really an indictment on Tua.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a big fan of McDaniels to the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. Yeah, I would agree. I think Flores to me should be a coach that every team's interviewing.
Yeah,
and then I think Flores. I really like Mike McDaniels. I like Dable, although he's been getting a little bit of concern recently. But for the Giants, I think they interviewed Flores for the second. It may have been the first time. I'm not sure they interviewed him for the first time.
I think it was yesterday. One of the funny Dolphins head coaching candidates was Vance Joseph, and he was not. I mean, I would be happy with that as a Jets fan.
Who's Vance Joseph?
He was the former Broncos head coach. He was not very good. He was basically like, I'd say, a slightly worse Vic Fangio. So I don't think he'd really be that. He's a good DC, but I don't think he'd be a great head coach necessarily. So.
Yeah, and then obviously we'll get into it here. Do we want to do AFC NFC before we get into
We can talk about like our predictions.
But let's I quickly want to talk about the Dolphins head coaching candidates, because that seems to me like the one that's probably most public right now. So it seems like there's 3. It's gone down to 3. Seems like Dable's the favorite. Then you have Mike McDaniels and Kellen Moore. I'll say this right now. I think Mike McDaniel should be that would be my favorite. I think his offensive system, because of, and this is going to contradict my Garoppolo, I think Tua is similar to Garoppolo, which I hate that because I compare Garoppolo to Stafford, and I do not think Tua is anywhere near Stafford. Let's get that out of the way, Mikey. But no, and I'm not retracting my statement. Garoppolo is still. Dable will be my second. Again, the thing is, will Dable be able to have the play calling that?
He definitely won't be able to have the same,
because he's not going to be able to have someone.
Well, he's a great culture guy, and he and Allen are like father and son, apparently. Apparently all the players love him,
which is good in a head coach.
Yeah, and is that I don't know what the Dolphins are looking for, but that's a great quality to have in a head coach.
And I would not want Kellen Moore if I'm a Dolphins fan.
Hell no.
I would not want Kellen Moore.
He's too young. I think everyone was saying the main reason why
he annoys, like the way he looks annoys me. I don't know why.
That's a great reason.
No, just like his face is like a punchable face. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's why you should not be.
No, that's not why, but it's just that I just put that out there.
I mean, I haven't really
heard a lot of guys punch faces.
I haven't heard a lot of things necessarily about his.
Punch it. He seems like the kid who whines in class and is the goody two shoes and
maybe it's just
we didn't.
The Cowboys.
Are you gonna collect the homework when the teacher forgets? He seems like that kind of guy.
Well, he's been considered the Wonder Boy, so I guess you could kind of consider him that. But I think
that
personally,
offense is pretty good.
He doesn't really exhibit.
It's pretty good. Really?
I mean,
is it not?
Let's take a look back at that wild card game.
I mean, they did lead the league in like a point per game, but that's because of the offensive talent. I think what he did in the playoffs is inexcusable, and if you want a guy that's going to kind of take you to the top, Kellen Moore, at least right now, is not the type of guy. He still needs a few more years. He doesn't seem like a leadership type of guy. I'm not a huge fan of his play.
He seems like someone who would get pushed around by players. I'm sorry. I've disliked him.
Yeah, it's just like Christian Wilkins, we're the bosses here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but. Yep, I would say for the Dolphins, I think it's Daniel or Dable or Brian Flores. He's a pretty good head coaching candidate out there.
Yeah. He's
that makes sense to me.
Makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Definitely
a little bit of disruption there, but
That's weird.
I think we got there. You want to go into some of our...
Yeah, just...
Are we still recording?
We actually... Yeah, we're still recording here.
We got some technical difficulties there.
Have some
audio cut out.
So, basically, I would say... Wait, should we... Because you have your Super Bowl predictions. You have... What do you have? Bengals, Niners?
I have Bengals, Niners.
Me and Mikey don't have ours. I have Chiefs, Niners. Because I think...
which is the most... I think the most...
Most predicted, I think, is Chiefs, Niners. Because
I think it's Chiefs... I think
it's so hard to pick against the Niners when they're playing the Rams when they beat them 6 times in a row.
Yeah, and they beat the Packers 3 times in a row in the playoffs.
Exactly. When they're like, until the Rams can prove that they can beat the Niners, I'm going to pick the Niners. And I think even though Stafford is a much better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners have I wouldn't say much better team, but they've got a system very comparable to the Rams. And they've got a defense that I think is more synchronized and better than the Rams. Mm-hmm. And again, they beat them 6 times in a row. So that's the main reason why. And the Chiefs-Bengals game, Joe Burrow did go out and say that he's not really worried about going to Arrowhead, even though it's the loudest stadium in the NFL. He went out and said college stadiums in the SEC are much louder than the NFL.
Is he supposed to say I am worried?
No, I'm not saying that. But he said,
did you see the Bengals practice? I think they're blaring crowd noise during the practices. I think I didn't have the sound on for the video on Instagram, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
But I think obviously he's not supposed to say that, but he basically said that SEC stadiums are louder than NFL stadiums. I'm not saying he's wrong, but it's still going to be
so different.
It's going to be very loud when you have like 70,000 fans in one location screaming, like trying to throw your offense off.
And also like what are the weather conditions gonna be like? I don't know what they're gonna be like,
30s, 40s.
But like it's way different playing.
Arrowhead is pretty cold.
It's way different playing in Kansas City in winter, with all that crowd noise, and playing in
so
the SEC in the beautiful weather,
The beautiful weather. I would go Chiefs Niners, and then
it's cold there.
It's a rematch of Super Bowl 54.
Oh, excuse me. Saturday it'll be high of 55. So maybe it's like temperate-ish.
Well, it's on Sunday. The game's on Sunday.
Or excuse me, Saturday. Sunday 48. So not bad. Again, could be worse.
That's better than I thought it'd be. Yeah.
Could be worse.
Okay, Mikey, what do you got? I got Chiefs Niners.
I got Chiefs Rams. I know it's kind of a basic pick, but
yeah, it is.
It
is basic pick.
I don't see the Bengals winning, and I don't see I could see the Niners winning, but I see the Rams winning more.
Because they've got a better team, they got Stafford.
Yeah, that
made sense.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that might have been our longest one. We hope you guys did enjoy. Kean McDermott. I was going to say Charlie Nadeau. Mikey the Flash McQueen.
Where'd you come up with that? I don't know.
McQueen.
And that from Cars. You don't know that?
The Flash.
Is that his name?
No, Lightning. Lightning McQueen.
It's Mikey Lightning McQueen. Whoops. All right, whatever. Mikey Lightning, the Flash McQueen.
The Flash Lightning, Mikey.
McDermott. We hope you guys did enjoy that podcast. And did I not say your name?
Yeah, you did say
all right. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Just skip over me.
And Surge. Kadali. We'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys, if you made it to the end, congrats to you. Like, that's more impressive than doing this. No, actually.
No, it is.
It is, honestly.
Surge had a long trek today, so.
Yeah, just impressive. Yeah. Surge had to walk 20 minutes to our host Charlie's house in the woods to get the mic because we didn't have one. So
yep, but we got it.
If that doesn't give you a reason to subscribe or give us 5 stars on Spotify, I really don't know what it was. We put in it's a podcast. It goes on Spotify.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that. But
okay,
thank you.
This is unfiltered now. Time to end it.
We hope you guys did enjoy. Follow social media. Mikey, you want to follow you on Instagram? Nah.
It's all right.
Mikey
you
McQueen.
Don't need to do that. It's all right.
But make sure you guys subscribe if you are new because more clips will be coming out. We'll post some stuff on Instagram, TikTok, and all that. We'll be very active since midterms are done, and hopefully we passed. So yeah.
Yep.
If not, this is what we'll be doing for the rest of our life. So
please donate.
Please. I'm joking. And we also want to thank you guys so much. We got monetized. So obviously, big milestone.
We're dragging it out.
We got monetized.
Thanks so much for watching. Well, Mikey, you've been on videos before, so technically it counts. We'll see you next time. Video, podcast, if you're listening. Congrats. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See you next time. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.